What's the status, 3?
I'm good, just making the world a better place, that's all.
Yeah, that's right. My rap scared the fuck out of people, but I'm just misunderstood. But if you was to listen real good, then you wouldn't mistake me for being crazy. You would learn to love and appreciate me now. Hear me clearly, the reason I am how I am, they don't scare me. I'm not under the spell, I'm not trapped in a cycle, they can't pull the wool over my eyes. I see the truth, for all of our lives we've been lied to, and I know it's hard to accept, so we drink away the pain and party to death. Had so much sex, smoke so much weed, we just wanna have fun, we don't wanna think. We just wanna make dollars, we don't wanna make sense. We don't wanna pay attention, we just wanna pay the rent.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion. I don't wanna hear about the spiritual epiphany, G's. I'm not a role model, I just care about what make me. More money and celebrity power, more sex, drugs, and fame. A star for my name on that LA sidewalk. That's how you want me to be, ain't it? Cause when I do good, you hate it. But when I'm evil and reckless, you love it. Fanatics, y'all a bunch of sick motherfuckers. You need to grow up and open your minds. I put truth in the song, but you want lies. I put real in rap music, but you want fake. By the time you understand me, it'll be too late. You so caught up in fantasy land, you so under the spell. I wish you luck, I wish you well. Real men drink water, we stay with our women and raise our daughters. And our little men too, and teach them the things they won't teach them in school. Like ancient black history and how to survive in these modern day times. There's no games being played, no kidding, no bullshitting there. No games being played, no kidding, no bullshitting, and no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Rap ain't right. Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
Young niggas that blasphemy, no religion.
That is a classic. They can't pull the wool over my eyes. Jay Heighten, Christos, Triple F. Do nukes exist? Shit. I drop nukes when I'm on the toilet. Nah, seriously, I don't know. That's a good question. 'Cause I've seen videos of them, but at least to me, something wrong with the videos. And then I've watched interviews, people talking about witnessing the time they would sit there in chairs, and one guy said you could see the bones or something, like an x-ray. How true that is, I don't want to find out. I wouldn't be an idiot to sit. Like, what dummy would raise their hand to sit to test out, you know, to see how much radiation stays, like. And all these nukes they supposedly tested in the desert wouldn't have contaminated the whole fucking country by now. You know, 60, 70, 80 nukes. You know, that can't be good for nearby drinking water and stuff. Like, because I also watched a documentary of this town, where they did, I forgot what company it was. I don't know if it was DARPA. It was some company that has laboratories, and something about their drinking water, and the people are coming up with cancer and shit. So I don't know. It's always something with this government, you know. It's always something. But yeah, let's vote for them. Fuck it, let's keep them in there. I wouldn't mind smoking a few wigs off. I would sleep better at night knowing that they're gone. Maggie said, I worked at Roxby Downs uranium mine. It's like yellow sand. Isn't that near like volcanoes and stuff? They get that, or I could be mistaken it for something else. Yeah, I seen that guy eat. Yeah, it was uranium. I think it was he ate. I could be mistaken. There's a scientist who was eating that shit. Um, Yellow cake. Hey Baba, I dropped the link. I would like to know myself, man. If it's you know, I've heard from people in the military that they have weapons, you know, but as far as and they got their people that are fully trained, you know, but it's not like you would think. A lot of it's fear pushing. And that's why I think a lot of the soldiers would back the people, and they know that, so they got to get robots. This guy was saying in 1950 something when they dropped the first nuke, that's when the clock started running. He's like, we got to leave this earth because there's people we don't. There's going to be more Trumps, and what did he say? He said there's going to be more Trumps and Putins. We don't need it, you know. And I'm thinking Trumps and Putins. Trump had peace with everybody, right? And Putin, when has Putin ever started a war? Oh yeah, the thing with yeah, that's true. That was when, and I don't think Putin started that either. I think it was the Ukrainian regime. But how about the Clintons? We don't need no more Clintons. We don't need no more Bidens or Obamas or Biden. Yeah, I said Biden. We don't need no more Bushes. Like We need to trim the bushes. Only a dummy. If all these countries have nukes like they say they do, I don't even trust what they say. Like, oh, you know, the U.S. thinks they're the only country that can hold a nuke. It blows my mind how they think they can police the world. I even laugh at that shit because it's like, you mean to tell me North Korea can't have them? And they say, well, Kim Jong Buggity Bong is crazy. Well, so is our people in power. They're nuts too. It's like Trump had said, our country isn't so innocent either. Even though Trump's part of the stage and all that, I like him. I ain't even gonna front, man. The stuff he says is stuff I would love to say and rub it in their face. On a live interview, I'd be like, if people want to know about that September event, ask George Bush. He'll tell you. He clearly knows the truth. Yeah, it's called weather manipulation, Mark Basket. I've told people to look up the Weather Modification Act of 1976. So I was watching the Killer Priest Podcraft this morning, and there's this guy who came on there and says he wants to challenge Dave Weiss to a debate. He's a flat earther, I guess, or maybe he don't put the label like I don't no more, because we don't, you know, truthfully, to be honest, people don't know if there's an ice wall all the way around. We don't know what the fuck is there. We haven't been there. You know, it'd be stupid not to question everything, considering we question the ball. The same people that give us the pictures of these so-called ice walls are the same people who gave us the ball. But he said there's 24-hour sunlight in Antarctica. I don't know how true that is. I've never been to Antarctica, so I can't call it. But if that's the case, he was saying the Earth is definitely flat for the most part. You know, people know what I mean. But he said the sun and moon travel through portals, like it said in the Book of Enoch. And I didn't listen to the whole thing, but I'm gonna listen to it. I want to see what he's talking about more and what model does he use. Yeah, they want you to live in fear is right. It's crazy. They've been on the weather. Excuse me. After reading the Weather Modification Act, I said, man, they've been doing this stuff. When you look at Zeus and all these, Peace to Red Squid X, you just went live. When you look at Zeus and all these deities that throw lightning bolts, and look at the X-Men. A lot of the X-Men have one of the four elements, or all of them. They have the ability to, you got all sorts of telekinesis, Magneto, and all this stuff that I think is technology. You know, maybe they got technology that can enhance your mind to read people's thoughts. I don't care what nobody tells me. When you're talking in your mind, it's still giving off uh, 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 a wave. Imagine they have cameras. Because I remember in 2015 in New York City, I was with a friend. We got into a little, and they were trying to scan my eyes in the thing. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, look into the thing. And he's like, we're scanning eyes. And I'm like, well, I kept fucking it up and moving my eyes and stuff because I'm like, dude, you ain't getting my eye scanned. I messed it up like 13 times in a row, maybe 17. And he finally was like, go ahead. But he was saying because I think it's under the Patriot Act, believe it or not. They use that event to, you know, when you're walking in to get the train or anywhere in the city, and their cameras can scan your face recognition, or iris scan recognition, and all this stuff. They said that all your information will come up when they do a face scan or an eye scan. Now, I don't know how it is now in the city, if they're still doing that, if the program failed or what. But I'm gonna have to ask some people I know in the Bronx, see what's up, because I'm curious to see if that ever elevated. That's crazy. Like, people, I don't know. People don't want to defend themselves or even have to. They want the government to do it for them, and that is the trap, the trick. My mom's boyfriend used to bark all this stuff to me, and it all made sense as I got older. And now, today, he was talking about this shit back in the 90s, and I thought he was loony. Yeah, Mr. Gates is a fucking mad scientist. What he did to Africa and India, it's terrible. It's terrible. And people make fun of India and stuff because a lot of them over there have problems because of that. It's crazy, man, what they get away with. And that's because we let them get away with it. You know, personally, me, scum like that, blow their fucking wig off. I would have no problem doing it. I don't care, no, oh, no violence. No, you think they give a fuck when they're inflicting pain on children? They don't give a shit. So why should I? Truth hurts. Yeah, I get it. 60, 79. But it'll help. It'll help more if you have that than you don't. Shit. And if you got night vision and some underground, if I owned like 20 acres of land or even 5 acres of land, I would have a whole bunch of underground things all over the place. And I would connect them. You know, people got to think this. When they were in the Middle East, soldiers will tell you they got their ass whooped. The first 7 years they were there, people with no guns for the most part. All they had was phones and boom booms, and they tore their ass up. So it's people with no military gear, nothing could do that. You know, there's ways around everything. There's ways around night vision. There's ways around drones and all that. And that's the sad part, though. The military is supposed to fight terrorism, foreign and domestic, but I have yet to see them fight domestic terrorism. They love it when it's foreign, but when it's domestic, they say that ain't true. They turn their fucking back to the people. So Chris said, drop the link. I drop it, and then he's nowhere to be found. Yeah, that's shit. What that guy said about cleansing the body, I said that years ago, man. I put two and two together when I learned about microwave weapons. And then I forgot who was the first person I learned they were spraying in the air. I think it was Richie from Boston. And I said, damn, aluminum, strontium, barium. I said, in a microwave, huh? Imagine that shit, bro. They fill your body up with all these metals and shit, and then they turn on the microwave weapon. You would cook like a fucking, you look like a burnt piece of chicken. You ever overcook something in the microwave? It turns to like a rock hard substance. Jay Heighton. I just arrived yesterday to visit. I'm leaving tomorrow. Damn. It's that bad, man. You got to evacuate the next day. We use microwaves for letter boxes. What do you mean? Yeah, I watched this channel. His name is Will Survive, or I told the story about that guy. He's a young kid, man. Or sorry, a young man, not a kid. A young man. There's no such things as kids unless you're a sheep. But he picked a spot in the woods. It's crazy. He thought it was federal property through the railroad tracks. He was wrong. He ended up on military property, and they made him take his cabin down. And man, this young man, he's got skills, and he's really determined to do what he's doing. So one of his viewers, this is much respect to the viewer who told him, I got lots of property, you could come do, build a cabin and stuff on my property. And the guy that was his viewer or subscriber, looked out for him. He seen the what's the word I want to use? He's seen how he was serious about it. So he let him stay on his land, which is dope. I've noticed a lot, man, since people got their channels monetized. People don't even come through here no more, for the most part. It's mind-blowing. Actually, no, it's not. It's expected. It's a disappointment, even though I expected it. But what Maggie, you said we use microwaves for letterboxes. I forgot what I titled this video. Don't even remember. We'll go back to looking at pictures and talking. I seen this lady was on the airplane, Jay Heighton. This older lady. And P Stationary Pizza. She was mad at the person next to her because he didn't believe in gravity. She went haywire on this guy. And it makes me laugh in a way. Or maybe it's the other way around. But either way, she's like, gravity. He says gravity's it's crazy people today, man. You don't get the right pronoun, forget it. I don't subscribe to none of that stuff, man. There's only two, a male and female. I don't care what no one says. That's it. Any other thing that was created that's out of my league, man. I agree with this 100%, 1,000%. This is where I want to go. Patagonia, South America. Oh. Yeah, like yesterday. That fucking guy comes here. I forgot his name. MC. How dare him call himself an MC? but he is a nemesis. He won't last long. He wouldn't last long in the street. He would get his world rocked. Who does that? Like, who goes to channels and just disrespects people? You got nothing better to do. Marvelous architecture here. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Sacred geometry. His name should be MC Dill Pickle. Yeah, he is. To me, trolling is so childish. It's like, dude, gotta be kidding me. Huh. I've never seen that guy around like that. But people have said he goes to other platforms and shit and does the same thing. So he ain't allowed here. I ain't gonna block him, but he ain't coming up, that's for sure. Unless I'm bored one day and I feel like challenging his ideologies or shutting down his ideology. Like an unpaid light bill, shut it down. Yo, Christos. I found a bunch of pictures of Connecticut. And just like I said, I talked to a few people and they agreed that they took that river. I showed the picture on my community page, but they took the river out of because it was connected to the the Connecticut River, and it was causing flooding. I had showed pictures of the Capitol, and not that anyone cares, but the light bill company should be paying you. Excuse me, they should be paying you. People are given 2 eyes and 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You're supposed to listen and analyze more than speak. That's why we got to start looking into. I've been learning about something about the lights. Electricity companies are they're double dipping. Not only, and a lot. There's a lot of double dipping going on, where because of your, like, say you owe a bill, your trust fund pays for it. Even hospitals, you don't pay that bill, that it gets covered by, they get paid through insurance and all that or whatever, and then they make you pay it still. That's double dipping, man. They're getting double paid. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Oh yeah. I got the hiccups. Huh. They call a person a hick, and then they say you got hiccups. Like, how does this shit align? It's hey boy, you some white trash. Do do do. Oh yeah, I just remembered. Thank God for memory. Or shall I thank my brain for memory? Or should I thank the ether? What should I thank? Should I thank myself? He said, I'm an Israelite. I almost fell out of my chair. Man, they sell that bullshit. That you're part of the chosen. You're special and they're not. It's like, dude. Well, I guess I'm gonna pull up some boring pictures. I'm gonna look at these domes. 'Cause I think a lot of these domes use sacred geometry. I don't like these little pictures like this. Sucks. All these are domes on like cathedrals. Like, look at this one, man. You don't know if you're going up or down. In the groove. Lonnie. Narcissism. Yeah, that's everywhere. The sacred geometry, man, in these domes. Like, it's interesting. In the groove. Nope. Damn, Chris. Give me a second. Chris always does that. I go to let him up, and he disappears. I wonder if this is before. This has to be after the war, obviously, because there's buses and those buildings in the back there look a little. Look at all these wires. It's a shame. All those wires could be gone if people would just use wireless tech. I wonder what these people are thinking. Where are they going? I just can't imagine one day they tell you, or I don't know how it went in the Middle East, but I just can't imagine you're just home chilling with your family one day, and this country invades your country, and there's bombs going off, and you lose everything. I wanted to zoom in on this picture to see who these people are. There's a whole line of people. Damn, Chris, I went to let you up, man. You disappeared. One day, all this old architecture will be replaced with a bunch of junk. You won't even be able to fart without them telling you what you ate for dinner a week ago. Like, cameras everywhere, you know, your refrigerator is listening to you, so is your Bluetooth microwave. I could heat something up on my way home from work with the Bluetooth microwave, right? That'd be crazy. You farting in your own house, and AI comes over the intercom. Say excuse me, right? This is a fucked up world. Or the what's it called? I forgot that lady's name people use. Series or whatever her stupid name is. Excuse me? This is a nice picture right here. Because it really gives you an idea that the people that lived in these places were way bigger. This kind of looks like that tower you see in Disney movies a little bit. This in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Probably don't exist. Chamber of Commerce? Of course it is. I think this is Milwaukee also, if I'm not mistaken. Huh. Wow. Hold on. Let's go back one. Interesting. It's Paris, France. I like how the stairs come down. Peace be. The first column I did. Dresden. Think I've shown that Dresden picture before, but this one, huh? I wonder what's inside of that fucking thing. What's up, In the Groove? Are you grooving?
What's up, bro? Barely.
Barely.
Moving and grooving.
Oh shit! Still trying to wake up. I've been up since 4:30. Oh shit! I wonder what this was. A bell in there? Oh, there's something in there. I don't know. I like the architecture. And this is the inside of some building.
I'll be right back. I gotta let my dog out.
Alright. Now this is some supreme interior architecture. I was just thinking like a titan or a giant walking in here, and the giant tells his giant wife, "Hey honey, we got roaches," because all the little people are running around. We have call the exterminator. That was corny, right?
Thank God for coffee. What's the date today? January 30. Mm-mm. January 30. Got Groundhog's Day in a couple days, huh? Will that motherfucker see his shadow? 6 more weeks of winter or not? I'm saying, interesting. Guess it depends on where you at, bro. Because I don't know. It's starting to look like spring
Hold
already.
on. I'm coming, Chris. My bad. I had to go use the urinal. Excuse me?
Corpus Christi.
I mean, all this architecture, I don't buy the caveman theory anymore. It's a theory to me. The white man came down from the mountains. He was a cave dweller with fur suits on.
Hey, I need to get you some Discord links, bro. Charles.
What's Discord?
And, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I really don't use it except for like AI art programs and maybe contacting some people on here because they use it, you know. But I don't really join like servers or like for example, I heard someone last night on a stream talking about how they like to spend a lot of their free time on Discord servers talking to people or debating, which I think is nonsense to a certain degree.
I think I know what
channels are
Discord
enough.
is.
Yeah, but anyway, I would say get it just because there's some good information on there. There's some interesting groups, specifically, you know, when it comes to DMT. So, Cage, if you ever have talked to Cage on here, Caged Reality, I don't think he's ever been on your stream except maybe once. He's given me some reference links, you know, educational purposes only. You know what I'm saying? But I know you were saying there for a while you want to have a spirit journey or some plant medicine.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just I you know, sometimes I feel like, yeah, maybe you could actually really use that because I recently myself, I've seen the benefits of just, you know, even just the microdosing.
I remember the benefits. Yeah. Like the next day, how I felt. Like it felt like I went to a Meineke. Like it felt like I was a car that went to a freaking mechanic shop. and got a upgrade.
Mhm. I mean, honestly, yeah. Not to over revere these things, but they certainly, it's like getting a spiritual bath, right? Or you know, yeah, it's reactivating or repairing, you know, things that we may not really ever think about or ponder, but are still happening. It's just like Dom talking about the subconscious or like what's running the body, you know, when you're asleep. You know, this vessel, this being, this machine. Exactly. You compared it to like an automobile. That's a crazy looking train.
Yeah, I think it's one of the first bullet trains. But maybe not I'm just guessing, to be honest. I was looking up old train stations and trains, and you know, I'm impressed by a lot of this old damn it, I didn't want to erase that, and it did. Old architecture and trains. You know, I think the further back we go, the more advanced we were, and the more we go ahead, the more enslaved and dumb we are.
Yeah, one of the paradoxical elements of this whole simulation. And I
They,
use
and they
that word
teach us the
lightly.
opposite. Yeah, they teach us the farther back you go, the dumber we were, right? We were these cave people that come from, we were monkeys at one time. Like, I never believed that. I used to laugh at that shit. Like, come on. I would think to myself, we're way too intelligent. But the more I look into this so-called his story, you know, there's too much missing in this so-called history. There's too many questions left unanswered and too many holes in everything. Like, and this shit just don't add up, man. Far more advanced ancestors where I'm at. Let's see, what else do I got here?
Well, I watched a video yesterday, and the guy was making a point about how, you know, like stories of Egypt and the pyramids and shit like that. Just any old story, really, even the Bible. It's you know, it's a narrative that kind of all connects together, and so people kind of gravitate towards it just because they've made it fit, all the pieces fit together and shit, right? But shit, where's it going with that?
Were you saying it's like dynamic, like it's able to fit multiple people's narratives?
Yeah, yeah, to a certain degree, yeah. Like this big grand timeline that's been formed, and anytime something new. Oh, I know where I was going with this. But my whole thing is, like, if all this narrative, all this ancient whatever that we know, that we've been given, that's available to us, if that was the truth, why are places like the Smithsonian and all this other shit, why is academia closed off to new evidence? Why would they be hiding stuff? You know what I mean? Like the Smithsonian is tied in with all those world groups, all those globalist groups, like that Club of Rome and all that shit. That's all offshoots of these globalist organizations. So
Yeah, you know, for this type of like world government that's claiming to be so progressive on the face of things, we're not making the so-called strides that they've been acting like we were going to make, or even a couple of years ago. You know, oh, you know, the green energy. And it's just like Charles is saying, you know, it's the same sentiment of what he was saying earlier. Basically, it's like we could be having free energy. We could have all these advanced means of doing things. It's kind of obvious at this point. Like I even heard a couple weeks ago, it was referenced the guy that made like the hydrogen car, or you know, the first electric cars, and how it's like, you know, that aspect of quote unquote hidden history. This, you know, this has been done even further way back, and it's what Charles is saying with the ancestors. So I think I don't know. It's hard to really, you know, have some conclusions on these things that are going on in real time. But yeah, it's funny. It's funny how they talk about green energy and whatnot when it should really be free energy we're talking about. It's a joke. This whole idea that we're advancing, like their idea of our advancing.
yeah, I watched a clip about the Davos thing from a week or two ago, whenever they had it, and it's funny how the big topic at this most recent Davos meeting, they said that the number one problem facing the world and humanity is mis and disinformation. like as much as they've been talking about climate change and these worldwide disease events and all that kind of stuff, no mention of that. Now all of a sudden it's myths and disinformation. And old Klaus
Yeah.
was talking about, well, a lot of them were, the big theme was rebuilding trust. Apparently all of a sudden they're really trying to focus on rebuilding trust with the common man. Like they give a shit, really. I mean, they talked out of both
I
sides
remember
of their
that.
mouth. Because Klaus, like a year or two ago, and that Harari guy, they sat up there and the dude said, we must prepare for an angrier world and all that kind of talk, you know? So it's just, not only are they bullshit talkers, bullshit artists, but they can't even stick to their own narrative at this
Well, I think
point.
it's part of the gaslighting, and then dialectic chaos, not to be confused with
Yeah.
Hegelian dialect. But the post-truth era, as they call it, which also coincides with the concept of postmodernism. And so it's like, if even if it's just new age nonsense, but if there is any truth to the age of Aquarius and like that we're in that in any form, or moving into that, it would make sense that they would invert that and do what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah, it's hard, Jay Heighton, to find Mother Earth's medicine for the spiritual journey. I'll put it that way. Look at this picture. I screenshotted it. Thanks to Divergent. I give credit when credit's due. How we put this together, because I tried to find the pictures on my own. It's difficult, so I had to cheat and screenshot. But to the left is a painting, and to the right is the actual same archway, but people can say what they want. Look how fucking tall the guys are, the people are to the left, compared to the real person our size on the right. People could say all they want about, the painter, no. Painters were on point back then with measurements. And I think this was purposely depicted to show. Damn, they're like double that guy's size, man. Holy shit nuggets. And then this fucking rock right here. If they didn't have technology, rocks just don't, you didn't cut that with they didn't chisel that with their hands, right? That's definitely cut with technology, that stone. And look how it's just sitting there. Well, is it kind of like leaning on itself on the top? No, it looks like it's just balanced there. That's odd. Right? Don't it look cut all the way through? From top to bottom. Anyway. And I stole this from Divergent. Because I haven't seen this picture yet.
Hey, if you're truly being called to any type of, medicine per se, you'll come across it, you'll figure it out, or you'll find a way. Like, I mean, I didn't bring up Discord for nothing, bro. We can just keep it at that. But there's plenty of biochemists that just know the science of nature, and you don't have to be a chemist yourself. You're not doing anything crazy. Yeah. So anyway, but there's a lot of different options out there. Yeah, it does
Yeah, but
depend
I'm
who
not
you are.
microing it. I'm trying to fucking go to the moon and shake Jesus' hand. Fuck all that micro shit. I'm going all out.
I don't think you want to be in the heart of Connecticut or wherever you are in the city if you're gonna do that. I mean, I guess it depends. It depends what type of blast off you're talking about.
I'll be moonwalking on the moon.
I just feel like the energy would be so concentrated and dense, but I know, people have done it and probably had great experiences regardless of the you know, metropolis urban environment and energy.
Damn, man, I wish I could share my screen. I have all these videos that I saved up on Telegram. So I think Thursday I'm gonna do a showing of all these short videos that I save up. Like I got this thing on Telegram I created to put short videos, because when I come across a really good short video, I put it to the side there, and I got about 70 of them building up, and there's a lot of good stuff I found. I got to figure out how the hell I put that short video up the other day, and I got within 45 minutes I had 2,500 views. It's mind blowing to me. Every once in a while I put a video out and it does that, and they stop it quick. They must notice, like, oh, Chuck went a little too far in this one, because it got up to where it's at, and then it stopped dead in its tracks. So there's ways, and I think I figured out. And it's sad, man, that we got to even go through that. You know, the people who made YouTube popular all got screwed in the end. For the most part, they ended up having to go elsewhere, and that's crazy, because the Flat Earth community and a lot of other people made YouTube popular, man, and in the end they got stabbed in the Bizak. But anyway, now it's fucking Hollywood.
Yeah, I think the reason why YouTube is I think the reason why this last time that they've locked me out of my channel and told me basically giving me no recourse to get it back. They said I can try to like send them a video. I can send them a little video interview, I guess, pleading my case and all this kind of wacky horse shit.
Remember, they took your video down and they didn't tell you why? Because now, I complained to them one time. I sent an email in the Groove, and I said, you guys take my video down, but you don't pinpoint what I did wrong. And then now, I think it was like 3 months ago or 4 months ago, I got another one, and they actually showed me the video and explained details of where in the video what I did wrong. After I had to complain, like, that ain't right. You guys pull someone's video down and just say you did something wrong, and they don't even show you what you did wrong. So it could be anything, right? They could make it up and be like, oh, you know, I don't know if it was my email that did anything, but, you know, they just do what they want. They'll pull it down and be like, you know, you did this. I mean, and not even explain, but now they do. Did they do that to you? Did they show you the video?
No, they just basically insinuated that I'm a hate speaker, and that they even put in their list of
Somebody probably reported you.
probably, you know, trolls and haters.
And
There's a lot.
I fucked up too, man, because, you know, that's what I mean. Like, people can hate on you just because they don't like you, and then report you and get you in trouble. That ain't right. I would never do that to someone, even if I didn't like them or didn't agree with them.
It's all good. It's just a hate campaign, you know. I'm not going to change my behavior because of that. I'm not going to be punished into submission, right? So I just fucking take my, you know, I just don't upload my shit here anymore. You know, it's the only thing I got.
Most of your videos are music, because I went through them.
They were. I took them all down.
I'm like, wow. It was like mostly all music in your studio.
Yeah.
And I like YouTube. Don't get me wrong. I like YouTube. I just think some of the people running it do some shady things. And if it ain't, well, maybe not the CEOs and stuff, but the people that,
No,
maybe
it's
it's
the CEO.
AI.
It's the CEOs, bro.
Let's
The
see.
CEO of YouTube is a CFR member. That's
Yeah, you were saying that.
former Microsoft. This is it. You know, not to sound wacky conspiratorial here, but just like I said yesterday, the internet is the new TV. They're on here trying to control the media. That's all. To use it for their fucking purpose. Like, why? Remember the first time they started putting Wikipedia links under certain videos? Like, how many years was Wikipedia clowned as being a not legit
By the
source?
public education system.
Yeah,
When I
bro.
was in high school and younger.
Yeah, I was in college and I graduated 2014 undergraduate. You could not use Wikipedia as a valid source.
Huh.
You know what I mean?
Look what B said. He said if someone hates what you're saying, does it make what you're saying hate speech?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah. And you know who does a lot of that stuff, man? Like, it's always one bad apple ruins the bunch, man. You know? There's good everywhere and there's bad everywhere. That's just the scales of life, man. You know, good Christians, bad Christians, good Muslim, bad Muslims. There's always someone that's got to fuck it up for everyone else.
Well,
And
we live in a time where people need they have to give trigger warnings before they say or show certain things, right? Got a lot of eggshell sensibilities.
that sucks. These people were raised in the house. People weren't, these newer generations, like, to be honest, I don't see children playing outside anymore. Just throwing the football in the street like we did, throwing the baseball around. Even the sports in the city here, I think, are dwindling away. You know, everyone wants to be on the computer or I don't know. I'm glad I grew up when I
still
did.
see it, Chuck. I see it less, but I still see it. You know, I come from the generation.
That's what I mean. It's dwindling
in
away.
the groups around my age, it seems like, which is slightly, because I mean, I graduated 2016. But
how old are you in the groove?
He graduated college in 2K14.
Yeah, but I went to school later.
Okay, how old are you, bro? If you don't
I'll be
mind me
40.
asking.
I'll be 48 in a week and a half. Yeah.
Oh man, he's another one of these cats that
Damn.
when he talks, I take him for like early 30s when I hear
Right.
you.
Appreciate that, man.
That's yeah.
Christos said I was in my 20s. Christos thought I was like 28.
Yeah, he had that same picture that he has right there too. I thought this dude was in his 20s. Like the first couple of weeks I was talking to him.
Yeah, my picture though is only like 4 years old or 5.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm in my mid to late 20s, early 30s. You know what I mean? Like when I was younger, I thought by the time I would get this age, you know, I'd be a, you know, balding old man just like everybody else you see. But it's weird how
right here
you get to this age and it's nothing like what, I don't know.
people.
It really is as old as you feel. You know what I mean? I think people who live according to their age that way. Like, oh, I'm 40. I can't have no more fun and life's over. You know what I mean? You're going to start looking like that.
Yeah, terrible mindset.
I'm stuck in the 90s, dude. I'm staying there. Fuck this shit.
Damn, what the hell was this, man?
Yeah, I can hear the 90s in the way you speak.
Yeah, dude.
I haven't
Yeah.
changed much. That's me and when I was 23. That's my grandpa.
Oh
Old
wow.
school. You could tell my grand wears his pants up to his. My grand dress sharp though. He has that old school. He used to wear them old school like Kango hats that people in the 20s wore, or 30s or 40s, whatever.
I'll be right back, bro. I gotta go deal with this dog.
Yeah, I didn't know In the Groove is fucking 48. Jesus, you got 6 years over me.
Yeah,
Peace,
I know what
Candy.
types of hats you're talking about. Those hats are fire. Was I
And
breaking up? Could you hear me?
yeah, Peace X, the most high techniquer. Who else came in? And Will I Am. Peace to everybody. Yeah, I feel you on that, Candy. She said I'm 54, but sometimes I mentally and emotionally feel like I was when. Yeah, me too. When I was a teenager, I forget. Like the other day, I went to get up, and my fucking knee, man, something in the back of my knee. I pulled a muscle like never before in the back of my knee. I fell to the ground. Matter of fact, I couldn't even get up. I went to get up. I was kneeling down. Or the time I went to play basketball last summer. I forget that I'm 42. I thought I was 18 still. It sucks because it feels like yesterday when I was 18. I would love to go back to the 90s and do the same thing I went through. There's a few things I would change though after the fact. I would still get locked up. I would still make the same decisions, but up to a certain point, I would change a few things. But unfortunately, that's not possible. So, well, we can all get in shape. If there's 90-year-old people climbing trees for fruit in the Philippines, in Jamaica, um, there's Rastas that live in the woods that are fit like an 18-year-old. They're climbing up the side of mountains, all types of shit. You know, it's about what we put in our gas tank. It's about how we treat our body. And I have a lot of stuff to do myself.
Yeah, I've been cheating a lot. I've been having a lot of sugar. It's been organic.
Hey,
Like 80% of it is organic. Like I'm eating healthy stuff, but I'm also like letting loose. Normally I'd be like very minimal sugar, like looking at everything. I always look at the labels so I know I'm eating a lot when I am. But yeah, man. So I've been, I'm still eating all my raw vegetables and everything like I normally do with the avocados and celery and doing the amazing greens pour-ins and supplementing Shilajit. Took magnesium last night, magnesium L-threonate. I'm drinking Lion's Mane mocha right now, all organic. So I'm still doing my thing, but yeah, go ahead, In the Groove. Whoever was about to talk, go ahead.
hey, life's too short. Hey, your Gramps 91. He wanted me to walk to Walgreens with him yesterday. Definitely should, man. Embrace them times you have. Like, my Grant passed when he was 81, I think. And I never met my grandma. She died long time ago from diabetes. Um, then my mom passed when I was 20. Then my uncle when I was 20. Damn, life, you could die 10 minutes from now, you know? Nobody knows when it's time, when that clock runs out and Kronos sends Anubis to come get you. Or no, Anubis is at the crossroads, weighing. He's got the scales weighing your heart in a feather. I mean, when the Grim Reaper comes to get you.
They're doing a cross-cultural collaboration there.
Huh.
Dude, you know, when you were saying that, it's funny because, you know, I just brought up quote unquote plant medicines or spirit journeys, and let me know if I start breaking up at any point. Um, when you were saying that with Anubis and Kronos, like, that's the thing, man. These mythologies become very real uh, when you're in these experiences, and, you know, when you do these spirit journeys, whatever you want to call it. Some of that can just be your subconscious mind opening up and your imagination, and you know, the archetypes exploding before your eyes. But some of that is actual, like, contact that you make with what we would call entities, or like actual individual beings on the other side or coming through interdimensionally. And, you know, that might sound weird to some, but, you know, when you've experienced it, and when you've had these people, or not people, but beings telepathically communicate with you, like, it's not an exaggeration. There's so many videos on YouTube of people saying this, of saying that there's a telepathic communication that goes on at a certain point with these, you know, whatever types of beings. And I've had it. And like, when it was going on, part of me was still grounded enough in this realm somewhere in my mind to be like, oh, you know, that light bulb moment. People have always talked about this before, and, you know, some people would say, oh, well, you know, that's in your mind, so, you know, if you've experienced anything, it's just going to reproject. We can get into that conversation another time. That's besides the point. This stuff's beyond supernatural, man. If you really are, you know, if you have the heart to go through with the experience, and it doesn't even have to be a long one. I mean, it depends what you're doing. Um, but yes, totally agree with what you're saying about the eating healthy though as well. Like, that plays a big part into the overall experience uh, that you're having with these uh, plants or substances as well. The biome that you have in your being.
Like, I started eating, like, I want to make my own peanut butter, but I started putting, like, I shaved down coconut. I drink a lot of coconut water too from the coconut. I bought like 5 coconuts in the last month, and I just poke the holes, get the water out, and drink it. Because coconut, like, I want to make coconut milk and stop using cow milk in my coffee. I'm gonna buy like 3 coconuts. I'm gonna get the water out, pisawama, and I'm going to shave down the coconut, or excuse me, I need to buy a blender because I watched this guy on YouTube. I think he's Jamaican or Haitian, and on the island there, they use a lot of coconut stuff. And you make coconut milk, and fresh coconut milk from. They took the coconut and they put it in the blender, and then, you know, I think they added a little water, and it was enough to squeeze the coconut milk out. And that stuff is really good for the body. A lot of minerals. I'm hoping at some point in the next year, I can let go of all the processed garbage and get more control over some vices I have, like eating cookies and this terrible shit. It's time to get serious. I should have been serious, but it's not like 320 pounds and I eat 6 large pizzas a day. And who's seen the video of that lady who ordered 3 plates of oysters and sucked them all down? Like, it was, each plate had like 18 oysters, and she ate 18 times 3. It's 50, 18 and 18. That's 44, 46, right? Or 36. 18 and 18 is 36. And another 18 is 50. Anyway, she ate 50, 60 fucking oysters, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't think you should eat a lot of things like that. You know, just
Dude, she
cram
was
it down.
slurping them. Imagine
But
when she farts, bro.
a clean oyster, like a good oyster. The only problem with oysters is their bottom filter feeder type, and with the oceans being that's
Think
polluted,
about
I
that.
worry about that.
Think
But
about.
they're-
I
but
thought
that's
about
like,
that too in the groove. But how do they? My question is, there's got to be something about that because the Asians eat a lot of bottom feeders, and they filter out all those chemicals. They're not dying, right? So
yeah.
I thought about that one day. I was like, yeah, man, these they dump so much shit in the oceans and stuff, but they feed at the bottom. And I thought to myself, man, and they're surviving. Like, so what benefits do these fish or clams or lobsters or bottom feeder have to your diet? You know, it's got to have benefits if they're filtering out all the poisons and living. It's like a tree.
Well, oysters are supposed to be one of the best sources for zinc, which is something that's very deficient in most people's diets. I guess it's hard to get it out of regular foods. And shrimp are good for iodine, which is good for your thyroid. But I could tell you, like before 2008, before the BP oil spill and Fukushima and all that, I used to eat seafood like I used to eat shrimp and or fish at least 3 times a week. Like every other day, I would alternate between, because I eat meat. So, you know, one day I'd have a steak or whatever, and next day shrimp or fish. And man, when I eat shrimp and fish and crab, any seafood, I feel amazing after I eat that shit, bro. So I'm a big believer in even though the oceans are polluted, mercury in the fish and all this good shit, bro. I think it's definitely
So they say.
healthy
You know,
eating.
The only time I'll say it's fact, like they say in the Connecticut River, there's mercury. And my first thought is, where the hell did all the mercury come from? And when you look at these factories, like there used to be a stream in the back of the school I go to, and we used to skip school and walk on the ice. And I never thought to myself, there's no fish in this stream. There's no life. And I remember drinking some of that water one time when I was younger. And who knows what's in it? Like, who knows what I drank? And it wasn't like I drank glasses of it. I would just take a little sip in my hand because my mouth would be dry. But still. And we follow the stream up. And it's like a factory offshoot. And it's like, how many, you know, the Connecticut River, if you go up the stream, there's tons of factories that are off the river right there. It's like, who knows what they're dumping, you know? And they don't care. They'll tell you, oh, it's certified by the, I don't know who certifies it, but I don't know how
Well,
they get away with this shit, man.
I think your health has as much to do with your. I think a lot of it is can be psychosomatic to a certain degree. Like if, like you talk about praying over water and all that kind of stuff. Like I think if you're, it's definitely not healthy to be constantly stressing out about the food being poisoned and oh, I'm eating a shitty diet and like me, I have very limited access to anything. Well, I'll say organic for sure. There are very few choices, and it is stressful. I'm like, fuck, I'd rather be eating raw vegetables right now, or man, I wish I had a watermelon, or shit like that. And it is stressful to think about. It's like, oh, I'm just eating dog shit all day, but I think if you're not stressing about that shit and you just strong mind, strong body, bro, I definitely think that has a lot to do with it.
Like Maggot said, if you get caught with your hand in a cookie jar, just say you were putting it back.
Yeah.
You can enter the balance through either end of the yin or yang. So I know what you mean with psychosomatic. Like Bex has talked about it a couple times in a pretty good fashion, and I know it's real. That it's integral. So it's like you look at the DNA strands and the serpents and how they overlap. It's like you could start from either end. Um, you can enter from either end is what I'm saying to achieve that state of balance. So it's like, yeah, you don't have to be eating completely organic. Like that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to have a good quality of life because there's two things going on here at the same time, and it's just like understanding that dance and being able to you know pay attention to both of these things going on, the more ethereal and then the more grounded and physical aspect, and how they intertwine throughout our daily experiences of life, the subtle energy body and the physical body. So you can enter through mind over matter and vice versa. Through you can affect positive thought through positive action, but you can also affect positive action through positive thought. And then you get to a point where you're in a flow state, and it doesn't matter about starting from one end or the other or what came first, because then they're already in that groove, in that flow.
Yeah, that's why I say like I do all the wrong things according to the rules, right? I don't really meditate like most people do. I consider like I feel like I'm always meditating. Like I'm always aware of and analyzing my thoughts or when I'm doing music, that's the way I disconnect from the world and kind of I'm in a certain different level of mind there and I eat, a lot of the wrong foods. Um And then sometimes I think, well, if I was doing all those other things, if I'm this awake and aware and spiritually in touch with myself and all this kind of shit, even at this point, like, what would it be like if I was really doing all these things? I don't know. It might be dangerous. But yeah, I think it depends on because I try to understand. Like, it seems like a lot of people, it's like the thing where they talk about some people don't have an inner voice because we was talking about that voice of skull got mentioned yesterday, and I started thinking like, is that voice, is that like a voice that's in your actual ears? Or is it on a level where it's like a intuitive voice? And it just had me thinking about it yesterday. But I've had my voice since I was, well, very, very young. So that's why I know. That's the only reason I could trust mine.
I can definitely say that there's been like a handful of times I could count on probably one hand, maybe two at best, that I've had weird I'd say on one hand, 2 hands would be from like, you know, psychedelics and whatnot, which that's not going to count for me. But no, like having like completely sober, like about to go to bed, I'm laying in bed and then I hear someone say my name and it's kind of quiet, but it sounds like it's like in the physical world, like it was said, like someone in the house. And I've
Hmm.
even like when I was younger responded and it was like, "Oh, did you call my name?" And you'd be like, "Oh no," but I've had a couple times what may be called like an auditory hallucination, uh, or feeling like it's more than just like a you know, when you're daydreaming and kind of in your own head, and you can kind of like imagine speaking or thoughts and reliving experiences. Not like that, but like very much like you can almost hear it. Like you hear it literally, but it's that weird kind of liminal between where it seems like a physical, like someone physically said it, but you're not sure, and then you gotta check with anyone that's in the house. They did, you know, you just say my name, so it's a bizarre experience. I'm not really sure about the voice to skull. I know that's a thing, but I've never really like gone through any type of TI stuff, so I know those things kind of correlate. But yeah, y'all got it.
Yeah, I'm targeted on paper as far as like being denied employment and censored and all that kind of good shit. But I don't know. I think they know if they give me a reason to fucking raise my voice even more, I am. You know, so they don't try no funny shit.
Yeah, Charles, I am going to be going live later tonight if you're there, just because I know you were asking yesterday.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
here.
off of my strike. Yeah, now that I don't have
Nice.
the strike timeout thing. There's a couple
Strike
things I want
3.
to get into. Yeah, there's a couple things I actually want to get into, like quote unquote gym dropping on my end. Shout out to Sir Drop, because that dude's always dropping gems for sure. And he was bringing heat the other day, actually, when he was going back and forth with Voy. That was
Yeah.
interesting. Is that stream no longer up, Charles, or do you have that?
Uh,
Would you be able to send it
yeah,
to
it's
me?
probably on my. It's on my
I just know
smaller
I know a
channels.
couple of yours. I thought like a couple of yours weren't kept up recently. That's the only reason I ask.
They're on. No, they're up, but they're on the other channels. Because remember, I
Okay,
like now
for
I'm on
sure.
live on 2 channels,
Yep.
so I kept them on one of the other 2 channels instead of the main. So if people want to watch it, it's definitely on Free Thinkers or my other Charles Waz channel. Yeah, Sir Drop's
Okay,
always
word.
dropping some stuff to get you thinking.
Yeah, I was impressed the other day with what he was bringing.
What's up, B? I almost
Is that who,
forgot he was sitting there.
that's who that is?
Yeah.
What's good, Charles? And peace to everybody. Peace to the chat.
It's over. Oh shit.
Man, I never get enough of this old world pictures. There's so many. I'll be here for years. Especially when you start getting into like the websites of like Russia and stuff like that. It gets deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to start sharing some more stuff with you, Charles. I just saw that I had you definitely in my contacts. At one point, I only had your number. I'd have to go look through my old messages, but
Yeah,
I
you
don't know if you
text
got my
me
text the other day.
yesterday. Yeah,
Okay,
it
cool.
was yesterday.
Yep.
I seen
All
it.
right, just making sure.
Yeah, we definitely did live alongside taller people. The real question is, where did they go? Were they just like Yao Ming type people, or was there a whole civilization of taller people? That's my question. And all that mud flood doo doo when they say, "Oh, they all died in the mud flood," like I've said a million times, it don't make sense to me because they're double our size. You
Yeah.
mean to tell me we survived? We what are we backstroke in the mud? You know, the fucking taller people. That don't make sense. If anything, I would have climbed on a taller person's shoulders and survived the mud flood.
Yeah, from what I've read,
Huh.
the bigger peoples have a harder time living daily lives, and the smaller humanoid peoples assisted them in the more minor tasks. And it was a more global society that actually got along, which supported multiple humanoid like breed types or whatever you would want to call it. But if there's a global cataclysm and everybody's scrambling around looking out for themselves, some of the more like megafauna style creatures kind of phased out.
Or they could have moved to other lands. Like I'm trying to find more on the Patagonian tribe, but honestly, I haven't been that lucky. I get the same stuff over and over. All they keep saying and showing are the same pictures, which obviously because they lived long ago, but there has to be more writing on these tribes, especially if Magellan talks about it in his diary. And they also talk about black giants from the tribes in North America, the Patagonian tribes near the tip of South America. And they also crossed that land into Antarctica, which is also called Australia. 'Cause I got maps that say, and there's maps that show deserts and so something isn't adding up. If it's all ice now, right? And they show desert in the 15 something right before they started taking. Me and Voy were talking about it. Around the 1600s, they started pulling the North Pole lands out of the maps, and they started disconnecting South America from Antarctica. 'Cause all of them before the 1600s, it was connected to Antarctica, and then they also started creating this island called Australia that was also connected to Antarctica. It was a piece of Antarctica, or Antarctica is the real Australia. So something isn't adding up. We need to go to the Vatican, slap a few cardinals up, and take what's rightfully ours.
I wonder how much is real and how much is hype about like artifacts or whatever secret nonsense they claim is, under the
Probably all
Vatican.
bullshit to keep us guessing. Huh.
So I just pulled a rabbit out of my hat, and my neighbors
No.
thought it was magic. So again, with that whole artifact thing and different populations having understandings of them, my understanding is if I take off my hat and have a rabbit behind my back, if I pull the switch fast enough, they won't see the rabbit coming from behind my back and they'll think it came out of the hat. There was adult there was a bunch of people. It was everybody, and they all thought this rabbit came out of my hat. A light bulb can function the same way. We kind of have to address where we're coming from in perspective when addressing these topics, because are we going to address our past from a creationist standpoint where we assign magic to areas we don't know, or a more evolutionary scientific method and say that there are unknown variables? It's two different schools of thought. And if we go into like evolutionary methods and thinking, well, there's extinction events, there's certain types of changes, whether it be behavioral or genetic. But then if we go into a creation style thought process, well, then we would have to explore the Tesseract going through stargates to access these other lands on different timelines. So it's kind of, it would help knowing where we're coming from and how we're addressing the topic. Because again, if we're talking about different lands as opposed to a Tesseract model, we would need a Stargate to get there. If we're talking about a solid plane where everything's connected in a two-dimensional sense, where we could walk there, so to speak. But yeah, you got it.
Native. What's good, Native? Create your own island, Native. Create a channel, right? And call it Powwow. And then, no haters allowed. Yeah. I swear, that dude comes back to my channel and tries that I don't know who you are shit. Like he must think we're stupid or something. I downloaded some pictures here. I'm pretty sure this is Russia because it was Russian writing, but I know there's other countries that use the same writing within Russia. But I mean, look at this bad boy. I know it's kind of blurry. Looks like it was an old newspaper clipping. See, I would like to send Divergent this picture. And I have a few other ones that he hasn't shown in his videos, which would be cool. You know, even it would be cool to get Divergent up here, even if he had to change his name and use a different account or something, so it doesn't mess with his you know, because I mean, the people are living in pretty cold weather here in Russia. I think this is, you ever seen how they used to spell Moscow? It's spelled different. It looks like Moscou. It's Moscou. Moscou. I wonder what happened with this building. Looks like somebody opened fire.
Well, you said it's spelled with a U at the end, right? Originally,
Yeah,
so they,
OU.
so they changed it to a double U.
Yeah.
I always wonder why they call it a W when it looks like a double V. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's how I write my W's like a W,
Oh yeah.
not a double V. That's how the school teaches you, but I write it a little different. And tell you the truth, school, all these times I was in school, I never put this simple thing together that the W is W. Like, sometimes the simplest shit I overlook, but I
So
be figuring out other shit. It's crazy.
a U is a vowel, right? Which is in terms of language, is something that came after, right? Like the original Hebrews or whatever. It has the letters don't have vowels. It's all consonants or whatever. So if W is a consonant and U is a vowel, it would have made more sense to call it a double V because V is a consonant also.
Well,
I
look
don't
at
know.
this writing.
I
How the
feel you,
heck?
Charles, on what you just said, by the way. Completely. There's certain basic things that, like, certain words that are put together, you break it down in a more literal sense. You're like, oh, no wonder these things are this way. But then meanwhile, like, I'm understanding and figuring out all these more complex ideas and concepts. Yet, yeah, some simple thing like the W, I was like, oh yeah, two U's, like, totally.
Yep. These pictures look like almost like tarot cards. When I see it from a
These.
distance, yeah.
It's some advertisement, I think. I raced the one that was before this, but it was on this Russian website. Because me, when I look at pictures, I try not to use Google, even though to me, all search engines are pretty much the same. I used to use DuckDuckGo or whatever, and that's poop. Now, Google, Chrome, poop. I use Edge, which Microsoft Edge, pretty much the same. It's all the same. They've scrubbed a lot of stuff, and I don't think they scrubbed it. They just bury that shit, and it takes a while to find it. But this is the inside on the Russian website. Some of these places, it's the interior. I mean, I wonder if that's real gold. Look at this clock. Look at this chandelier. And that's another thing. In paintings, they have chandeliers like this. And people think that they're candles on the chandelier. But little do they know, back in the days, they would make lights that look like candles like this. So I think that's how they help push their bullshit of electricity. You know, they try to hide the electricity in the 1700 paintings, and they tell you it's candles, and then they use kerosene lanterns and all this shit, which they probably did, but there's also electricity. So, to me, that's key.
Well, yeah, they were showing. Was it Abraham Lincoln? I think, or one of them. One of the stories about him is he was reading and writing at night by candlelight. You know.
How do you think the Muslims would feel? You know, if his name's Abraham? No, I'm joking. Right? How could the Muslims, praise a guy named Abraham, considering they don't eat pork? It's a joke. Ha ha ha. What the heck was going through here? Look at in this picture. Sun was speeding right through that. Too bad we couldn't see what it was or what it is. See? Look at the top of this picture how they spell Moscow. It looks like Moscow. M-O-S-C-O-U. Moscow. I'm going into Moscow today. Oh yeah. I already showed this picture. Look at these funny things I found, these pictures. Damn.
Yum, yum,
Were you
yum.
pouring tea?
Oh no, coffee, man.
Wonderful, wonderful. The one making tea.
Look at these funny pictures, man. I don't know what they're for, but they got their Russian hats. Too bad I couldn't read what they say. Anyone Russian? Where's Voy or Marcel? They could read this.
I'm part Russian, but I'm trying to slow down and smell the flowers.
Huh.
Boy, high energy today, huh?
It's the last week of the month. I'm running out of everything, or I have ran out. I gotta find out. I gotta talk to a few people. I have a few things I would really like to invest in, like t-shirts. I've been saying that for a while, but I'm serious about it. I gotta talk to a few people and see how much you need. And,
T-shirts?
yeah, I want to talk to a few people that
Well, they got
have been doing
websites.
it for a while.
Yeah, they got websites now where you can basically they do everything for you, and if you just if you provide the designs for the shirts, if you put it in the right like JPEG or whatever format, picture format, it's basically made to order, and it's I guess it works like the Cafe Press type website where people just go in there and they select what they want and they just print them up as you get orders. I think it's pretty streamlined now, that t-shirt thing. But you know, if you got good
Yeah.
design ideas, you know, you can make some money on it.
Yeah, this picture is bad, but I'm trying. They're showing like a mountain range in back of her, and the other two, I don't know. I can barely tell. Oops. Look at this. Now,
The human centipede, inhuman centipede.
this dude's
Man.
got. Oh shit! I just realized what that picture was showing. Seriously, I didn't even. He had a gun out. I thought he was shooting. I thought it was the gun they were pointing at because that carving's old. I thought they were showing that guns aren't new, but I guess not.
Hmm. Love
Anyway,
thing.
I mean, this type of architecture, you could just tell that, like, it would be dope to live in these days, you know, when architecture was like this everywhere. It would be awesome to conversate with somebody that's 14 feet tall. And just, I bet you their conversations are just sometimes beyond our understanding.
See, like, what? Hold on. That last picture you showed with the clock and shit. How old is that supposed to be?
I don't know. I would say between 1890 and 1920. I'm guessing.
Okay. All right. Well, that falls within the lines then. But I was gonna say because I was taught in university education about the clock. The clock is only, a couple hundred years old. As a concept, it's not.
Huh.
That's something else we take for granted is clock time. Like we're all locked to clock time. We wake up on the alarm clock at 7, and we got to be a certain place at 8, and lunch at 12, 12:30, but all that is a new human phenomenon. If we're to buy into the evolutionary train of thought, bro, like even just living on clock time it's very unnatural and very recent.
From the looks of this, it was from a newspaper clipping in 1917. And they were at some type of war because that looks all shot up. Anyway. And these pictures, it's just mind boggling. Where is everybody? Where are they inside their house? Where are they at? Chow?
I was just thinking they were inside the house.
They're probably nowhere. Where is everyone? Not a soul.
So a lot of these government or official buildings, they were only maintained by a staff and used very infrequently because most people could handle their own affairs, and government was very small and met only when there was something important. And then the rest of the time, the buildings weren't needed, so they weren't, in use as they are today.
We need to get back to that then. That's how we should be now. The people running their own show, man.
And our politicians and our representatives would do so on their own dime as well. That's a great idea. I like that.
Yeah, politicians, they don't work. They just bullshit the people and get a nice pay salary. Every mayor don't pay rent. I don't care what no one says. The mayor for Connecticut. Sorry, it's not the mayor. It's the mayors are like for cities and towns. What? Is there a mayor of a state? No. What is it called? The
Governor.
Anyway, the governor or whatever, and the mayor of Hartford lives in this big mansion, right? You know how he got in? He used to go to the North End. He had a house on the North End to bribe all the people in the poor areas to vote for him. As soon as he got in, he moved right out. Not even a month later. Probably not even a week. The people were bitching about it. He moved out and went to a big mansion. He played everyone. So, These politicians, man, they get a chunky salary to bullshit the people. And that shit's got to stop. It's insane. Baseball players getting $800 million contracts, even though they probably get half of that. Still, that's 8 years, 800. That's like $7 million a year. Anyway, the point is, I'm not too worried about the sports players. I'm worried about these politicians, and they get away with too much. But then I also think there's always going to be corruption as long as we allow it. You know, look how the system puts fear into us. And then I think to myself, well, what fear have we pumped into the system for them to not screw us over no more? What are we going to do? Hold hands in the circle in front of the tyrant's house and pray to Jesus? You know, people think that's good enough. That's fallacy. It's a fucking joke. Anyway. These people need a spanking. They need to be put over my knee. And I'm going to use the same wooden brush my mom used on my ass. And we're going to spank these people. Imagine that. Spanking. They'll probably like that shit. Imagine spanking a fucking politician. Bad boy. Anyway.
The wooden spoon works too.
Shit. The wooden brush my mom had, it was passed down. From my great grandma down. There's a lot of ass whooping in the history of that brush. I always wonder what happened to it. And there's nothing wrong with hitting your child. To set them straight. Now, I'm not talking beat your child up, you know, like. And then people say it's not right. That's abuse. Well, look what happens to the children when they don't get put in their place. It's even worse. Look at the generation, my generation, who actually got ass whooping for fucking up and doing bad shit, compared to this generation who their parents don't hit them. Right?
Well, these
Speaking facts.
days, it's the parents that need a fucking spanking, if you ask me.
Ha ha ha! And the children too, man. Both. But I know what you're saying, yeah, because they didn't. How? Who? And they'll say to this to us in the group. How dare you tell me how to raise my child? How dare you? Well, you did a great job because your child don't even listen to you. I used to tell my mom when she would beat me, that's child abuse. But when I look back at it, I was dumb for saying that shit. It wasn't. And truthfully and honestly, it set me straight. Because I would think about, is it worth me doing this again? Because that ass whooping hurt. You know, she didn't beat me, but she spanked me with that brush like 2 or 3 times, and that's all I needed. Because it stung.
And that's what it's about, man, what you need. Because I tell a lot of parents, discipline shouldn't be an emotional thing. And if you find yourself striking a child with emotion in your vessel, that's abuse. If you're doing it to teach a child a mental concept, it shouldn't be about injuring the body. It should be about, some people would call it traumatizing the mind, but awakening the mind to cause awareness to a certain thing. All of my children now have gotten to the point where we can just
Rude
talk
awakening.
about it. Right.
So-
But now I'll phrase it this way. Now that my kids have been awakened to the fact that actions have consequences, potentially positive and negative, my oldest son actually brought up the idea of no more spankings. So I kind of helped him out with, filling in the answer, and I said, okay, if we're going to have no more spankings in our household, well, then that means we have to do things in a certain way that encourages no more spankings. And it's amazing that a child could understand and participate in this situation. But yeah, my oldest son actually had that interaction with me, and we were able to basically like evolve our family process into the concept of no more spankings based off spankings.
Yeah. It's
'Cause
and then another thing. What is a parent wrong? I have one of these short videos, and people in the comments were cheering this woman on. She went into the classroom, and there was a rainbow flag. The mother went in the classroom and ripped that shit off the wall. She was yelling. The teacher and her were going back and forth. And some of the books that they have in these schools, it's disturbing for the ages of these children. Relationships, man and man, they have this stuff in books, and it's like detailed. And I seen the video with the mother doing that to the flag, and she told the teacher, "I'm raising a man, right? I'm teaching my son to be a man, right?" And she went off. And I agree. Who is the school to teach that stuff? It's crazy. I remember having sex education in high school. They would give condoms out and shit. And I used to skip that class, but the newer generation, man, they've took a symbol of light, turned it into like I don't know, man. I have my opinions on a lot of that stuff and all these pronouns and shit. Like, there's only man and woman, man.
If I could build off that though, would you consider it the same for the big homies showing the little homies a bunch of booty pics and basically sexual material? So if we're just gonna group all types of mature human breeding processes and foreplay, if we lump that all in one category,
But that's
homosexual,
different.
heterosexual,
I know what
all
you're
across the
saying.
spectrum, we're putting that on kids. And
But
from what it sounds like on your side, yeah, go ahead.
I see what you're saying, but children don't go to school to learn that. Like a school setting it's indoctrination regardless, but what gives a teacher, a teacher is supposed to be professional. And given, I forgot how old this child was, 11 years old, and it was a book about having relations with another man, and the father flipped out. And I would too. I would be fucking ecstatic.
I personally agree. But what my point was is, it seems like we're programming our immature humans to focus on breeding concepts too early and when they don't
Right.
have the right life tools. So either way, whatever path you want to walk, you know, it would be helpful to have a map or a compass and like a walking stick, you know what I mean, a water bottle. But if you just jump into Mount Everest as a child, that's why we have so many people failing at what their attempts are, is because they're almost set up for failure.
Yeah.
Because what if they don't know? What if at this point in their life they like these things, and at this point in their life they're like these things? But then you add the two together, and then you make, you know, a life journey or something like that. And who knows where we're going to be or who we're going to be. But yeah, so that whole binary, non-binary, LGBTQ traditional family split is another dividing point on a main concept of we're indoctrinating these children either way, and we should, or you know, if we want a traditional, old-fashioned method, it should be a mature, competent adult making their own choice, and then we have to accept their choice because they are competent. But yeah, I just wanted to throw in the other half of that because I fully agree that we're doing some weird, or we as a culture and as a society are doing some weird stuff to kids, and I don't agree, and I would rather do things in a different manner when it comes to you know, the public and all of the children.
What did you say here, Native? Got to say 43 times, man. This right here, it's like written in code and shit. I don't know. They had a room called the Amber Room. Looking it up, all gold and gems until and stole it. It's like they're doing everything they can, you know, between the, you know, they're saying the world's overpopulated. People believe it. It's crazy. You can drive 5 hours in some places and not see a house in sight, and they're talking about overpopulated. I drove from Hartford, Connecticut to Maine. It took 7 hours, and there was times I would drive for 2 hours and not see a house. All woods. You mean to tell me we're overpopulated, the world? That's cocky pock. Now maybe cities are, but they sell these things to people and they just jump all over it. They don't even really research. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, my opinion, he sounds like a ding dong. Half the shit he says is just big words, but it don't make sense when you try to add it up. It's like, what the hell did he just say? Right? It's like, come on. It's crazy the people they give these labels, and because they use a bunch of big words, most people don't even know the definition of the words. And just because they put together something that sounds good, they roll with it. A lot of these people are just, I don't want to down nobody, but it always starts with self, man. It's up to us to make this change. I see all these videos of people say, give yourself to Jesus, your life will change. Sounds good. Give yourself to Allah, your life will change. Give yourself to, I don't want to give myself to nobody. What the fuck? I'm not up for sale. You know how many
Well, all those
cities?
gods say love yourself.
Huh?
All those gods say love yourself.
Yeah, then when you tell a Christian you love yourself, they say that's a sin.
You can't
How
get
dare
distracted.
you love
just have to
yourself?
tell them, follow closer. And then if you know, judge not lest you be judged, you'll understand that they're judging themselves.
Oh man, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of religious people, I know I always say Christians, because that's not all Christians. There's a lot of good Christian people, like Native. I think Native's Christian. He's a good Christian brother, right? Native, you're Christian, right? But you don't you don't I think, yeah, Native's Christian. There's a lot of good religious brothers and sisters out there, and elders. And I don't want to judge anybody, because as they say, you know, I'm far from perfect myself. I'm always making mistakes and having to learn from them. Well, not always, but when I make a mistake, I assess the situation and myself, and I learn from it for the most part.
I'm a judge. I'm a judge based on our history of
Yeah.
interaction. I'm just not going to prejudge. I give everybody an equal opportunity, a clean slate. You know what I mean? But if our history is you fucking me over and lying to me and this and that, yeah, I'm going to judge you a certain way, and I'm going to discern myself away from that. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not really judging in that sense. It's more like calling them out for lying. You know, just calling them out. But
Well, you know, people use that judgment, like, don't, only God can judge me, all this kind of shit, to justify bad behavior most of the time, right? So again, we use these words very colloquially. They mean different things to different people.
I think you
No.
hit it right on the head without prejudice, right?
Right. Yeah, it's like coming into a room and asking somebody before you even start a conversation, the first thing they got to ask you is, "What are you? Are you an atheist? Are you a new ager? Are you one of these are you not like me?" They start right off the bat with that shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, I make a judgment call based on that. I'm like, all right, this dude's already don't know his asshole from his elbow. I'm about to eat him up like a bowl of crawfish and shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's retarded, bro. If you're gonna be
If they
about that life,
bow-
be about it.
Yeah, but when you're encountering those people, if they bow to their God, they're not listening. That God is telling them, like, "Yo, little homie, it's on you."
Yeah.
They're too busy bowing to be the action. So, like, you can't beat them. You can't kick somebody while they're down. I mean, you could, but we know who
That's the
does
best
that.
time.
So,
Your foot's much closer that way.
but yeah, as soon as people start telling enough of themselves, then it's easy to know that, you know, again, judge not lest ye be judged, because eventually you're going to judge yourself as, you know, the tyrant if you go around kicking dogs when they're down.
Man, I was watching a video yesterday, speaking of judgment and prejudging, and this video was talking about it was like somebody who was whistleblowing and investigating let's just say chomo type rings and culture within, specifically they were talking about the LDS church in Utah, specifically the area. But this person mentioned that not just LDS, but they also mentioned another church by name. And it's just crazy to me because I got a best friend of 20 years who moved away from here back in 2018 to basically go live in this cult, this religious cult. And it was the exact religion that my friend went and moved off into. And what was crazy about it is like the first year or so that my friend was there, we were still corresponding back and forth, but he told me specifically that they were helping victims of SRA, which is, like ritual victims, that type of thing. And then this chick yesterday is talking about that's one of the religions that are infiltrated and involved in these weirdo rings. But why would you? It's just the whole idea of religion and you having to affiliate yourself with a certain flavor of it, a genre. It's like, how ungodly is that of an idea? I mean, that is so of the world and so man's idea. And you want to talk about that's the basic level of discernment I just can't seem to wrap my head around. I mean, I figured this shit out as a kid. It's like, why do I need a book? You know what I mean? Like, I can't talk to God myself. God didn't create me. And here I am at 48 years old. Nobody seems to get that as far as like the believer types. Like you're talking, you're spitting satanic ideas out when you say something like that to them.
I hear where you're coming from because you have original thought, and you're able to use something like a book as a tool. And again, you have original thought, and you're not only the book.
Yeah, it's like I look at the book and I spent time in church, especially as a kid and or as a child, if you will. And there's definitely parts of it when I hear somebody speaking certain verses and this and that. Sometimes it resonates, and inside I'm buzzing with good vibes, and I'm like, okay, they're ringing with truth, right? And then there's other shit that is clearly questionable. And what am I supposed to believe that I was? Yeah, all that, all that stuff.
You went to school. You know how genetically improbable it is, and what it would take for something to be born with the ability to give birth to something without another partner like that. We know about those things genetically, but for a human to have it happen, yeah, that would be like demigod level magic.
Yeah, reptilian. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, there you go.
But like, this is something that came up recently when thinking about that whole virgin birth thing. Now I may be way off here, and if I am, I accept that. But isn't it like when you're a virgin, your hymen is intact, right? So that would mean that the womb or the entrance to the womb is basically sealed up. So
I know a lot of people who ride horses, so it's not
right,
it's not that fixed as a truth in that community or others like it.
right. But even just virgin birth, bro. The idea of that. Like, how inhuman would that be? Especially back in those days. If you can imagine if somebody claimed, oh, I'm a virgin, I gave birth. They would more than likely stone that woman and the child to death as being an aberration, an abhorrent malady of, it would be like a demon almost. So it
That
just
sounds
don't
like
make
the people that I've read about too. That sounds exactly like what would happen in my mind
Yeah, right.
back then.
They really believed it was a virgin birth, but then they're going to kill Jesus 33 years later. You know what I mean? If they really thought that was the Son of God, it just don't add over. You know what I mean? Just basic scrutiny.
If it's a stage and they're putting on a play, that's a whole different dynamic.
Well, yeah, because if you can make people believe shit like that, then you can definitely make them believe anything. Especially if you...
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, especially if you convince them that having valid questions is not allowed and it's wrong, and they shun you for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Trust the plan.
And see, I could understand that as well. Because I've been told I need to drive my boat in this direction until I need to drive my boat in a different direction. I always thought it was stupid, but after it got done, I saw what was accomplished. But when you deal with humans like that, that's a different level of discernment. That's a responsibility and a duty to steward other humans.
Yeah, it's like I said, like a preacher even. Like imagine considering yourself a religious or spiritual gatekeeper between another person and God, bro. You're like, I'm that person, I'm that guy. I'm qualified to be a middleman for to speak for God.
My bad, everyone. I had to feed my cat
Oh yeah.
and argue with my roommate.
Was it about Jesus?
No, it's about being selfish.
Huh.
It's the same shit, bro. I'm not gonna bitch on here about it, but it's just the same shit. Tired of it.
It's almost time to plant seeds.
I know, I'm ready. Definitely
I
ready
told
this
myself February 1st, I'm starting to pop indoor on the heat mats.
Yeah, well, I looked at the almanac for my area, and according to that thing, we shouldn't have any more. Like, we might have some, like some mid 40s lows, but should be out of the frost zone pretty early this year. But there's always a curveball that can come around, you know.
You know, if you had a roommate, you had food put aside for you, right? My roommate always does this shit, man. It drives me nuts. I go out of my way to look out for people, and they're just so selfish. They only think about themselves at times. You know, I had food put aside in the fridge, and my roommate goes and eats it, knowing that, you know, the last week is the biggest struggle part. And I just yelled at my roommate, I don't give a fuck if they're dying or not. You ate my food that I put on the side. And time again, man, it happens over and over and over. And the person still does it over and over. It's like, dude, what the fuck, man?
Sound like you need a spanking. Get the brush out.
I might clock them in the dome. Boom!
Now, what you do next time? Here's what you do, bro. Next month, you put your food on the side, like some nice looking cupcakes and shit. But like, I don't know, like lick the top of them, or you know, maybe piss on it and put it in there, and then let him eat it. And then when he eats it, you
I
say,
wouldn't do
"Motherfucker, I
that.
told you last month not to eat my shit." Well, guess what? That
I
cupcake
wouldn't
you
do
just
that.
ate, I pissed on that motherfucker.
Damn, that's ruthless.
Fuck yeah, dude. Gotta get creative on
Yeah.
them.
Nah, I wouldn't do that. I mean, you know, I know the situation my roommate's in, but still, man, you know, it just fires me up because I do everything in my power. Like if everything I have, like, you know, I cook all the food and split it. Big meals and shit. I'm conservative type person, man. I come from the struggle. I conserve. I know. You know, you budget your money and every month it keeps repeating. It's like, all right, well, you know, you try to prepare for it, but when you have somebody that doesn't conserve, it's like it don't work. Somebody that's just don't care about tomorrow, even though tomorrow might never come. But it's the point, man. I try to tell my roommate, look, we're not rich. We're not millionaires. We can't buy what we want. We don't have unlimited amounts of food. You got to conserve, man. It's just what it is. It don't work. But whatever. I'm not trying to bitch about it on here, but I'm just...
For every
life.
10 gold coins, make sure you keep one for yourself and make sure you give one for charity. Whatever you do with the rest is your character in public, but for every 10 gold coins, make sure you pay yourself first. And it is always good to make sure you give one for charity. Because if you pour that little bit out of your cup, it makes room for the blessing to be refilled. So in any of these times where these people are without and your cup is more full, for every 10 coins, if you give one to charity, you make room for an additional blessing in your cup.
I'm always, I don't do things when I help, my roommate expecting anything back. I do it out of my heart when I help people. And then sometimes when I'm down, I feel like, I'd be like, damn, when are these blessings going to come back one day, right? I'm sure people have helped millions of people out. And then when you're down, it's like, but anyway, I don't do things when I help people expecting anything back, but I forgot where I was going with this, man. I was mad, and then now I'm not, because I try not to get mad, because me getting mad, well, it ain't gonna change that the food got eating, right? So what the fuck's the point to even get mad? I just roll with the punches. I try to. It's like, fuck it, man, whatever. Because I knew it was gonna happen. The crazy part yesterday, my inner self, I swear to God, told me when I was putting it in the fridge to hide it. And I didn't listen. And what do you know? I heard my roommate rummaging through the fridge too when we were on here talking. I didn't get up to supervise somebody 20 years older than me, like a child.
Telling you, bro, piss on that shit next time. You feel so much better. No, but what B was saying about giving
I wouldn't want no one to do that to me, man. I don't fuck with people's food like that. Like,
unless you're the government, right? Then you just fuck with everybody's food.
Hey.
Like B was saying about 10 coins. Keep one for yourself and you give one to charity, right? So giving that one to charity, that is really what the Bible talks about when it mentions tithing. 10% belongs. It doesn't say 10% belongs to the fucking church or the preacher. It says to the Lord, right? So in the highest sense of what the Lord or the Most High, that would be the spirit of charity. So if you do truly give to charity as a church or even as a preacher or whatever, then in a weird kind of way, you can stretch it out and say, well, that is for the glory of God, not for my own, personal lifestyle. But most of these preachers, bro, they just take that shit and try to live high on the hog and then cast judgment on everybody else who's imagine being a preacher and during family functions, you can't do anything except bitch about your tax dollars paying for people who are like on welfare and shit. You know what I mean?
I'd rather my tax money go to people in need in this country than in a rich man's pockets.
I'd rather
Yeah,
my
like
tax dollars go to infrastructure, and then private charity should take care of their brothers and their neighbors.
well, problem with private charities is they're really just tax shelter fronts. You know what I mean?
No, I mean
Like,
I'm in Skid Row all the time, and like if I got something on me, it's because somebody was without. Because I haven't really missed a meal unless I planned for it, and other people miss a meal, and the meal that I bought was for them. I just didn't know it. That's private charity to me. If you're trying to take money from one of your pockets and putting it in your other pocket, to me that's not charity. That's paper games.
right. So really, it's not private charity you're talking about. That's really what you would call public charity, I would think, right?
Yeah, but donations, people write it off in their taxes. That's the trick. A lot of these rich people
Oh, yeah.
donate, and then they write it off and get some of it back. I think, right? Not the whole amount, but they get most of it.
Well, here's the thing.
Because
Right.
Well, like
same
if you
thing.
form, I'm sorry.
But
Well, like if you form what we call like a nonprofit organization, right? You can structure that in a way to where you your mission statement is about some type of community benefit, right? So when you form this quote nonprofit organization, you can qualify for certain governmental grants and that sort of thing, right? Money. Well, if I start my nonprofit organization, I can call myself a CEO. I give myself a salary of I don't know, 200,000 a year. And so all the money, whatever comes into that organization at that point, the first things first, I get my salary paid. And if I take a loss for the year, then yeah, all that's write off. And you know, all the games they play with the loopholes for tax write offs. But a non-profit organization, you know, your salary, you just give yourself the salary, and you know, you could justify it any kind of way you want, and you're getting taxpayer money for that, especially a community benefit. But like most of these charities, of all the money that comes in, even like these cancer, like that Susan Komen, the pink breast cancer lady or whatever charity. I think like I think it's like 1, 2, or 3% of the money donated actually gets out the door to actual charity. You know, that's how most of them operate, and they play on people's heartstrings.
That being said, Goodwill is for profit, and Salvation Army is, like a more of a charity. So if you're gonna donate to Salvation Army, not Goodwill.
Yeah, I like the idea of like supporting the food banks, because that's something that you can directly see, because you can donate actual food and not just money. You know what I mean? That was why I was really looking forward to my greenhouse farming business idea venture, and was hopefully to have surplus so where I could go to like actual food banks, whether it be at the local university or the nursing homes. We have a lot of nursing homes around here. Just donate that shit. You know what I mean? You got no choice but to eat it.
Right.
It's not going to pay for somebody's fucking Mercedes or something, you know?
And that's what I think. That's the especially with farming. It's like, do not glean the vines of your vineyard or something like that. That is for the poor and needy. Basically, don't strip all the resources off of your money trees, because somebody's going to come up in the night starving and need an apple. And if you take every apple off your tree out of personal gain, your community will suffer, and ultimately your personal gain is lessened in a triple bottom line sense.
Yeah.
Going along with that scripture or whatever, I think it says like the first of the fruits go to the Lord. But again, I don't read the book enough. I don't have it all memorized and have stories built for, after I quote the scriptures and little keywords and buzzwords to make it sound good. I just kind of apply all this stuff, put my hands in the dirt and twist wrenches and spend time with my
Well,
people.
it actually kind of does. If you think about, people that pay rent, that the first paycheck you start getting on that month after you pay that rent, the next one you're already saving up. The first thing you gotta pay that rent. You gotta pay that motherfucking electric. That's to the landlord. Fruits go to the fucking landlord first.
At least we got 31 in this month. We got one more day.
Yeah, it's another great day in paradise.
Every day, bro. Every day. But yeah, I try and tell some of my buddies, you may have received a paycheck, but when have you paid yourself? And I say, pay yourself first when you have the most. When you're the most generous, when you have the most money, pay yourself. Put that shit aside. Put it in a little piggy bank, coffee can, hidden account that you don't really have much access to. And then pay all your bills first, because then what's left over, you're going to be stingy with. And if you have to pay yourself last, you're going to put yourself in a position to pay yourself when you're most stingy. And that's almost counterproductive. So I always tell people, whatever your gross paycheck is, whatever that first number is, you drop a zero and put that number aside. That's for you. And then when you're having a down day, you can look at that account and say, oh yeah, you know what? I have been rewarded. I do have something for myself. The world didn't just take me for everything I had. And then when you apply that concept of charity as well, now the world didn't take everything you have. You gave out of your own accord. You're in control of your own life. And sooner or later, that static charge builds up, and you might be cool enough to get put on a cross and a book written about you. But for the rest of us, it's just called daily life.
Yeah, well, I can speak for myself and say my problem is I've never had leftover money. I've always been paycheck to paycheck, and like Charles says, a few days before the end of the pay cycle, it's always zero. And I've never in my entire working life have I ever been at a point. Now, some of it is I could blame on myself. It's like, well, I had cable TV for many years and shit like that, Or
I run my paycheck to zero every time. But where does it go? Do you take some of it from that paycheck and hide it from yourself? Hide it from your ego? Because if you hide it good enough, they won't find it. And then, if you design the labyrinth complex enough, your mind won't find the treasure chest before a new one appears.
Yeah, well, again, that's great if you got actual income coming in. Like for myself, I haven't had a paycheck, a week-to-week, bi-weekly paycheck since 2009. You know what I mean? So,
what resources do you have? Treat that as your currency, and then apply the same financial tools to them. If you're on a seasonal paycheck cycle, if you have to go out and hunt, it's just, these are all concepts, and then you apply them to certain lifestyles. If you're trapped in the city in a cubicle, you're going to be focusing on paycheck tactics. If you're completely disconnected into the bush, well, then you're going to be relying on a lot more like solar-based natural, natural lifestyles.
Yeah, well, that's about where I'm at, because when I did have a lick of money, and this is what I do every time when I do have money, like I don't put my money in a savings account, but I buy things that I treat like a savings account, or like the fact that I live in a manufactured home, what we call a trailer, fucking whatever, but I bought it outright with cash to get rid of the rent burden. I spent $4,000 on getting a actual water well installed to get rid of the fact of having to pay a recurring water bill every month. And so yeah, I've learned how to eliminate bills to where I can kind of control at least my connection and disconnection on my own. Nobody's gonna come cut my water off or kick me out because I can't pay rent on a certain month or timeline. But I'm still on the electricity, tit or whatever. The motherfuckers every month are fucking acting like dicks. And yeah, that's my last little hope, dude. But see, like even now, like my savings account is having things and I'm reselling them when I need to. And right now, all the avenues for me to sell, like selling on eBay and all that kind of shit, which is what I've been doing for the past 20 years. Now they want to charge you an income. They want to treat that as income. Like if you resell used items on eBay, they want to treat that as income. So all my regular avenues of sustaining myself, even without a job, they still come for that and try to regulate it away from people. You know what I mean? These motherfuckers are evil, bro. I'm so fucking done with this shit.
Mark of the beast, bro. You will not
Yeah,
be
bro, they
allowed to
fucking
participate
beast.
in public commerce. But instead of flinching when they're throwing this at us, understand what they're saying and then write your own life and be ahead of them, whether it's with them or on your own, on your own private thing. But they're telling us all of these public utilities are going to be lumped into that system. You're going to have a social credit score and you're going to pay more per kilowatt based on how you're using it. If you're going to just be gaming all day and you don't have a job or a class level to support that, well, you're a drain on the system and your kilowatt per hour is going to cost more. But if you're busy, working 20-hour days on cancer research, well, your electricity bill is going to be a little bit less.
Well,
If
that's
you
the
have
thing.
a pedal-powered alternator, who cares what they say? We all have
Well,
options.
that's the
You
thing, right?
sound
It's
like you have a lot of knowledge of the options.
Oh yeah, I could definitely come up with ideas. The problem is that they want to what would you call that? They want to criminalize, any attempts to step outside the lines. And like you say, this whole social credit score, that's some arbitrary criteria that's decided on by who, right? Like they say, who's a drain on the system. Well, who's more of a drain on a system? A CEO of a company that's getting public subsidy and tax breaks, right? They say they create jobs, but one thing people don't realize also is that, when you have an organization of a certain size and you have a certain number of employees, you get paid to sustain a workforce, meaning that you'll start getting paid to have people on your employee list as a government subsidy.
That's
But
a
me,
preconceived notion.
I don't even get.
From the perspective of host or parasite.
What's that? What do you mean?
Are you speaking from the perspective of host or parasite? Because it sounds like you have a preconceived notion based off the perspective of the host, not the parasite.
I look at it both ways.
So they're doing good. Are you acknowledging that the parasitic CEO is doing excellent in this day and age?
Well, how good is it?
A parasite always does as good as it can until it, it does itself out of the job. It works itself out of the job or whatever. It is known the parasite does that.
If I hire somebody, right, and everything out of my mouth and my actions is basically keeping them in a form of desperation and trying to portray the fact that, hey, you're lucky to have a job. You wouldn't have a job if it wasn't for me. But at the same time, as that's coming out my mouth, in the back of my mind, I'm going, yeah, it's fucking, it's really great how I'm paying this motherfucker $8 an hour and talking to him like a piece of shit that should be kissing the feet and the ground that I walk on. Meanwhile, the government's paying me fucking $15. I'm making $7 an hour just to give this motherfucker $8 an hour and treat him like shit.
Well, is that
You know what I mean? Just like public officials do, just like a politician. They get their fucking paycheck from the tax base, you know, quote unquote, that we all support. And they talk to us, and they fucking, the job that they do is a blatant disrespect to the lifestyle that we provide for them. So in terms of host and parasite, who's the host and parasite in that scenario? We're the host.
right?
They're the fucking parasite. But they talk to us like they're from on high. You know what I mean?
So that's but doesn't that what I thought that's what the parasite does? I thought that's
No,
what
the
skilled parasite does.
The parasite usually don't tell the host. The parasite tries to hide or
Shit, dude,
just
the
accepts.
best parasite gets plugged in by the host. And then
Well, you know,
go to a higher symbiotic relationship because we have all type of little organisms and beings inside our human being as little gears in the machine to build up the larger machine.
yeah, but it's not all parasitic. Parasite offers nothing.
The sugar demons are for sure parasitic. All the what is it? It's like a fungal based. Fuck, I forgot what that one. There's a common one that just demands sugar and it just excretes acid.
Yeah, well, it excretes acid, which is harmful to the body.
Yeah, so what we have to do is have more alkaline.
But your
and,
gut biome
plant-based. Exactly.
is beneficial. So you wouldn't call your gut, that's bacteria, beneficial bacteria. You wouldn't call that a parasite. But a fucking
symbiotic little entities.
a tapeworm.
There you go.
A tapeworm would be a parasite.
So, you know, this American lifestyle includes eating snails that we know there's parasites on those beaches. Eating crustaceans that we know, you know, eating sick animals that we know have parasites. We're plugging those parasites into ourselves and we're feeding our life energy into that system. Now, their rulers are just going to accept the tribute. Different rulers.
Because our stupid ass.
We start giving tribute to them. Yes, our stupid ass. Yes, I agree.
Because our stupid ass keeps going to the fucking ballot box and fucking consenting and verifying and legitimizing this ridiculous arrangement that everybody says that we're all like bound to.
Yeah, I like music better than sugar, but for some reason right now I'm having this fight over my life whether I'm gonna have music or sugar because they have different thought processes. I can't look at the patterns and the frequencies. I can't intake those patterns and frequencies the same way on a sugar diet. My internal tuning is off. But again, when I do this fasting, when I have a little bit more peace and open space in my life, then the notes show up on paper. It's my choice. But like Starburst or some like Sour Patch Kids and chocolate, like high quality chocolate. You could have chocolate with caramel in it. You could have white chocolate. You could have white chocolate with Oreo cookies in it. Bro, they gave us too many options to go down that path. And I am familiar with those options. And vegetables are always going to taste like dirt. Grass-fed beef is always going to taste like dirt. Juicing those vegetables is always going to taste like dirt. But you could wrap up a lie in infinite new novel possibilities. I just have to remind myself, oh, this tastes like dirt. I'm doing good. I need to, I need to rebuild an environment that was actually conducive to that, as opposed to, striving for a higher corporate American position, having a better paycheck, having a better office, having a better car that I don't even own.
Well,
These
yeah,
V8 Chevys will last till 300,000 miles, and if you plant a seed in the right area, it'll feed you for basically free. But sugar and a Mercedes, or now they upgraded it to exotics now. You can't even be fancy with a Mercedes. You have to have a Ferrari or a Rolls Royce. It's ridiculous, impossible. You're over there, you're trying to compete with entities not on this plane. You ain't gonna have that much electricity going through you, you'd fry. So again, we're made out of clay. We got to put that clay back into us. If we start trying to deal with magic and black magic, well, then we're just gonna be hollow, like plastic.
well, I think the more mature and intelligent you get, all those trappings of success, if you call it that, these like a Ferrari becomes way less desirable and attractive. You know what I mean? Once you realize how overly inflated the value or the perceived value, it's all in how it's valued socially. It's not that it's, 10 times better than say a BMW, which at this point, a BMW or Mercedes is that's like the Honda Civic of a rich, affluent. I mean, they almost cost the same as a freaking Honda anyway these days, but even back in the day, you know what I mean? Like a truly rich person to look at a BMW and Mercedes is way beneath them. They got to roll in a freaking Bentley or one of those other fucking retarded things. But the value is not
right. Value. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a social value.
Yes.
It's all material garbage.
They don't look at the mechanics of a V12 motor or the artistic, the art that it takes to have those compound curves. They don't realize Mercedes-Benz have tighter machining tolerances, which allows for the better performance. It's not that's not the thing. They're not looking at that. It's, ooh, he has the thing, and I might be able to get the thing from them. Like you said,
status symbol. That's what the word is, status symbol. But it's just like a house, dude. Like, you can have the same house in Louisiana built, and it might cost you, we'll just throw a number out. Let's just say it's $250,000. But that same house in Colorado or California, same building materials, same everything, is going to be, somewhere around $1 million. So what's the difference in value there? Are 2x4s worth 4 times as much? You know what I'm saying? 1,000 or 1,500 miles away from one location to another. This is social status and the inflated, just like a house in a subdivision with a HOA and a nice little entrance sign, and it's the affluence, maybe a gate, right? Versus a house out here in the country, like where I'm at, I could have that same house for $100,000. And that's like basically just the labor and building materials. No overinflated perceived value, like curb appeal and shit, right? That's one thing I always said about Louisiana is that people don't care about anything in the community as far as like eyesores and shit. As long as they can stand from like their mailbox and look in one direction towards their house, if they can find one angle where it looks nice, that's enough for them. They won't turn around and look around them and see like the fucking broken down car on cinder blocks in the house right next door to them, right? As long as they can gaze in one direction and it looks a certain way.
Just don't care.
Yeah, right.
Nothing.
It's
The more
very
you treat
fucking...
people good, the more they walk all over you. You treat people like shit, you get that fucking respect you deserve. Starting to realize that.
Yeah, it does seem to be true, bro. It's a sad fact because then you guys, it has to make you into something you don't want to be, right? We all want to be nice and giving and respected for that, but no, you got to be a fucking dick, bro.
This community, or you know, the world out there operates on virtue signaling. So if you have a bunch
Fuck
of
this world.
large, intimidating people, maybe some of them have some of the people around me wear fixed blade knives, open carry. But I mean, if you're gonna do that, you just wear a sword from the belt. Some countries do machetes. Some of them call them cutlasses. But yeah, if you posture and virtue signal in a certain way, and then you take care of the needy and the weak, you help people cross the street. You actually break when you know there's somebody at a crosswalk, but you're posturing yourself in a certain way. It allows you the buffer zone. So if you lead with meek, you will be walked all over in this world, and the spirit of your deity usually keeps you intact and usually keeps you from harm. But again, if we're just going off of the system, if you posture in a virtue signaling way, leaning towards aggression, it gives you the buffer zone to actually, be charitable and be for your neighbor and your brother.
It's fucked up, but
it works.
That's what I learned after this situation. Is why be nice to people? Fuck it, I'm done.
There's good reasons to be nice, but it needs to be clear as a social contract that I'm willing to be not, or I'm willing to be good and I'm willing to add value for our common good. If another is just going to take it and jump off a bridge with it, well, then they're not entitled to that common good. And that's, what is it? The tragedy of the commons. You mentioned a public charity. Anything belonging to the public is subject to just utmost overuse and abuse.
Yeah, fuck the public. They deserve what they get. They keep fucking voting for us. Of course we're gonna fuck them. Look how stupid they are. Every 4 years we get them with the same fucking trick over and over. What a bunch of dopes. You know what I mean?
That means those with have a duty to those people without. Now, if the duty is stealing from them, that's one side. That's one path. But if the duty is looking around and splashing some water where it's a little bit dry, it's just tending the garden. It's all good either way. However you look at it, the cup is either full or it's empty. And if it's empty and you got some, pour some in it.
Hey, bro. Sleeves up. Do your part, bro. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
What are you, a fucking grandma killer? You know what I mean? Fuck these motherfuckers, bro. I don't fucking ain't nothing good about that shit. They should all be fucking rounded up, bro. I'm sick of waiting on it. You know what I mean?
I've already taken up the fight. Yo, it wasn't on me. Whatever they did to the elders, I did the most and I tried to do even more. But, that whole grandma killing, if you tried, the grandma killing isn't on you. And the best thing to do for a person that helped is to blame them and scapegoat the shit out of them. It's just tactics of that old world order that's getting phased out because it's inefficient and it only causes high profit margin at the cost of human life.
They don't cost the rich nothing. They print money.
Right? Yeah, they print it out of our blood. They own the money machines and they rent out all the equipment and we operate the money machines for them. They don't do shit.
Well,
Print our own fucking money.
if we're being honest about the problems and shit, and some people are not gonna like this because I get it, because get in where you fit in. You can you can get some crumbs like everybody else. Good. Kudos to you. But we got to get rid of this. A big fucking problem is that fucking stock market. It's the biggest illusionary quote value. We call it investment. There's nothing investing about it. It's all fucking funny money, invisible fucking profit, or invisible products, I should say. It's all getting paid for work that produces nothing. That shit needs to be done away with. That's just money laundering, is all that shit is.
I very much agree that financial machine is being used for money laundering and tricking poor and young people out of their money, funneling it up to higher and legacy levels. My addition to the riddle is, how do we use this type of financial machine to its most efficient and beneficial, usage? How can we switch this into a more communal-based system as opposed to just, for independent entities?
Well, that's the devil's trick, bro. It's not going to happen if you always got people who are willing to put their money in, let's just say, like Pfizer. They're willing to invest in Pfizer because, hey, look, it's down fucking, it's down 50%. It's guaranteed to go back up in due time. The lure of making that, again, making money off of no product, no work, no innovation, no contribution to society, nothing. Just throwing your money into some fucking numbers game. And yeah, you're going to get rewarded for it. You're going to get some crumbs. Know what I mean? Because participation is consent. That's why I talk about that ballot box. Or even just going to work every day. If we all said, you know what? I'm tired. We're tired of getting underpaid, overworked and underpaid. We're going on a strike. We're not going to work. We're not buying shit. We are going to stay home and stay locked down. We're going to lock down until we get some demands met. And we just had a simple list of, I don't know, three or five demands. We're going to fucking have, I don't know, some type of set percentage of profit margin tied to wages. Or we'll have a salary cap for CEOs. Let's just say $1 billion. Does anybody need more than $1 billion? Like, do these fuckheads that started Microsoft or have an affiliation with Microsoft, should they be getting $1 billion? Like, is Windows that great of a product? The motherfucker needs constant updates. After 35 years or 25 years, they still have to be constantly updated. You know what I mean? And new versions every 2 fucking years because the old one's got security flaws. Hello. And they get rewarded for this shit. Facebook is $1 billion website, a fucking message board where you can't even look at the most recent. They took the most recent button away. Where if I want to go in there and see what my friends post, not only that, I can't even see all my friends post. These ideas are worth $1 billion. I'm sorry, but that's like a $2,000 idea right there. I need $1 billion idea. It's like advertising itself. That shit is not worth what they say it is. Like Google's whole profit platform is built on advertising. I'm sorry, but if I got a business, like at what point is there the law of diminishing returns? I'm going to spend millions of dollars on advertising. How much am I actually making from that? I know there's a few dummies that fucking still get led around by clicking on flashy ads and shit, pop-ups. But I can tell you, dude, I've been online since 99, and I've not once. Well, I'll be fair. There might be 3 to 5 tops ads that were ever even relevant to my fucking interests, where it introduced me to some new company in an area that I'm actually interested in, but I've never clicked on a fucking ad and went and bought something directly, or had a clever Super Bowl commercial convince me to go buy something. You know what I mean? And look at the money that they're throwing around for that shit. It's all fucking fake, bro. It's all money laundering. I don't buy any of it. just like insurance. We pay into insurance, and if we have no claims and nothing bad happens, we should be getting some money back. But no, I just got to pay a quote, and they call it get this. They call it a premium. We pay a premium for insurance. And when you do have a fucking claim, they do everything they can to not fucking honor that claim. They sell you empty promises, and when the time comes for them to keep their word, that's what they give you. They give you a fucking empty or false promise back. Or you'll get maybe a certain percent. Oh, okay, we'll pay half. So I'll pay a premium to get fucking half? I mean, I think about the fact that since I've been living here and I bought this place, the only really major expense upgrade that I've had to do is we had a storm where a tree fell on my house, on my roof, and it punctured a hole. And so I had to get a new roof job, new shingles and all that good shit. Well, that cost me $8,000. But I've been here since, well, let's just say, I'll say 2001, 2, 3. At this point, I've been here 4 going on 5 years. If I had paid homeowner's insurance, it'd be something like, let's just say $1,500 a month. I'm not a month, a year. So 5 years, $1,500. That's $7,500. So really, for me to buy my own roof out of pocket would have been the same as paying for homeowner's insurance. But I can tell you, because that was a named storm where this tree fell on my house, the insurance would have either not covered it, or they would have only covered a certain percentage of it, and I still would have had to come out of money out of. So I did better by not having insurance and just paying out of pocket. And that's really the truth of the matter when it comes to insurance. Or car insurance. My vehicles are not worth more than $5,000. And I'm supposed to be paying, according to the insurance company, I should be paying $150 a month off top, just for liability. That's fucking $1,500 a year. Actually, a little more, but it's more like $1,800 a year. So I've had these cars. I have one of them for 10 years now. That's $18,000 in insurance I would have paid. My car is only worth really, it's only worth $3,000 at this point. 6 times more in insurance than what the motherfucker's worth. It's a fucking scam, bro.
Yeah, I always run square body Chevys, and they're consistently $1,500 at 100,000 miles. I sell them for $1,500 at 200,000 miles and go get a new one for $1,500.
Yeah.
If anything's wrong, it's going to be the alternator or the radiator or the starter, and both of those, all 3 of those are like 2 bolts, $100 part, and you're back running bulletproof, iron block reliable. For my commuter, I got this little city job, so I need reliable transportation, and I got vehicle financing, so I could play that whole game. But with that, it's fully insured. If anything ever happens to it, it has a warranty, so I can guarantee going to my job. But in my personal life, these V8 Chevys have never let me down for $1,500. And like you're saying, if you're paying more than that in insurance, I could just go buy a new one.
Yeah.
But again, you have to identify the pattern, find your sweet spot, and try and maintain, ride the wave. But I hear you, man. It's hard to get, it's hard to wiggle, and there's a lot more pressure in this environment. It's a lot different environment. Things are just still radically changing, and these little internet kids, dude, are gonna blow by us with this new world order, craziness. And there needs to be some connection to the root. I mean, these kids have been raised up off the ground, and they've been they were born onto plastic carpet their whole life. Their feet have never touched the ground.
That's fine. Let them fucking let them blow right past me, because as soon as the wind changes directions and they get blown over by the wind, they're not gonna know how to get back up. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm. Oh yeah, I stated it as a problem. They're going in the internet direction. They're going into this metaversal world, and they're not walking a true path. And again, if they blow by us, then there's a split. Now we're gonna have, because everybody politically left and right is still on the same stage. Everybody financially, is still on the same stage. As soon as we go into this social credit score, they're gonna stratify us in ways that we can't comprehend and we can't catch up to. So it all would need to be from the origin point. I am grandfathered into this CBDC nonsense. I'm grandfathered into this stuff. We have this arrangement. I've shown good form, so I should be allowed to show good form still. If you inject me with, some half DNA ladders, that might lessen my tax value to the system. So I have to continue to show the good form I've been showing. But again, yeah, if you start plugging in other kids, hey, you do this with Bitcoin, you get on this stock market, you screw over somebody in another country, and then your Bitcoin goes up. These kids are learning this as truth and fact, but they don't understand. They don't have a connection to the root. They don't understand colonization. They don't understand, usury of your brother and your neighbor. They're taught that it's okay because it'll get you the Ferrari and the social status. But if you show any child how to pop seeds, if you show any child the newly born animal, it immediately snaps them into an organic reality, and they can't be taken from them. And you'd have to go into a laboratory setting and manually brainwash somebody to strip that reality from them. Once you go into the forest, infinity has that effect on beings like us.
Well, I kind of this things like this that make me are really the only reason why I'm thankful to not have kids. Because if I did, I would be raising them to be a problem. There's no way I could teach them to integrate into this kind of system. So I don't envy the position of parents these days, because I don't know how the fuck would you guide anybody through this horse shit? You know what I mean? Because my parents just told me, hey, you get up, you go to work, you do this, and blah, 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 and this happens. And even that was bullshit, but at least that was a little more of a attainable result at the time. It seems so anyway. Nowadays,
So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
When I bring it up to my dad, so my mom won't even entertain it. She'll try, won't even has an inability to entertain the things we're talking about. When I bring it up to my dad, he understands what I'm saying, but he says like, "Nah, I'm not at that. I'm not that type of race car. I'm in a different class. That's all you, bud. You got it." And he also says he doesn't agree because he is unable to agree. But yeah, as far as like a parent-child, or for our generation to be the elder and to have a younger generation, it's crazy. It's just absolute chaos, with the requirement of ordering that chaos into something that's not tyranny, and then we call it like family or being. Again, these are concepts of infinity broken down into things that we can actually comprehend and focus on. But yeah, straight up, my dad says, no, I stayed in my lane, I succeeded, and whatever the hell all this new shit and this other shit is, I don't even know. I can't even, most of the stuff he don't even see unless I point it out. And then he's like, oh, holy shit, what is all that? And then he just turns the other cheek, and he's like, nah, you got it. If that's you, if that's what you're talking about, if that's what you see, then you got it. Most of the time, I have to go somewhere and set up camp in order for people to just feel safe to visit. If there's no camp there, man, if there's no fucking campfire, if there's no food set up for them, man, they ain't going there, man. Even if it's places in their own head. Unless there's a warm, cozy campfire where everybody can show up and sing Kumbaya, man. Because, hey, let's go over there. I'll bring the light with. I got the light. I got a generator. I got 4-wheel drive. We could go over there, and it'll be all right. Oh, there's monsters over there, bro. No, it's good. You know what I mean? Like, let's just go over there. No, man, it's safer here. Safer in the village. Safer behind the fence.
Well, that's where Jesus comes in handy, because then, you can all just rally around the fire of Jesus, you know what I mean?
Fuck
See,
Jesus.
that's the light, man. That illumination, the Christos, or whatever you want to call it. If our spinal column is just so tensed up to where we can't, get that cerebral fluid flowing, we won't be able to see. It'll be dark. But if we're illuminated, and if we can, if we could be the torch, if we could be the flame, it don't matter how dark an environment is. We're leading ourselves by our own light, and the light leads us. Again, for some, it's like that. And if you're a scout, if you're a trailblazer, if you're a warrior, these concepts are kind of built in. But again, sheep are meant to stay behind the fence. They're rewarded to staying behind the fence. The sheep are my goats that jump out of the fence. I gotta sell them. I can't be having, you know what I mean? It's not good. It's not a good look for my animals to be eating my neighbor's shit or standing on top of their cars. So the sheep are rewarded, for being behind the fence. They get to stay in nicer areas. The goats got to be all the way in the back, bro, just under lock and key. Or at the top of the mountain. That's also where you find the goats.
Charles said, fuck Jesus, huh?
Yeah, that's once you can think above that divide, it's easy to play religious people back into their own religion. Because why attack some of the knowledge that I'm thinking about when they could just focus on the knowledge that they prefer anyway? Don't worry what I got in my mind. You don't need to worry about who's the god of this world. You don't need to worry about gods or angels or the backside of their faces that's a demon. Forget all that. Don't worry about that. Everything's okay. Jesus will take care of you.
That's a joke.
It is. And they love it, man. They love that joke for some weird reason.
People, just pray to Jesus, man. Yeah. How come I'm the only one that prayed to that clown and nothing ever happened? You got to give your life to Jesus. Fuck that. That's like giving your life to the system.
Sleeves up, bro.
I have a better chance of making it happen myself than waiting on that clown.
There you go. I can't be a slave because I can serve better.
All these starving people around the world, Jesus is living it up in this golden kingdom of heaven. They sell people these false dreams.
Hey, this is the end days, though, bro. Jesus is just waiting to come back, bro. He's just any minute now, bro. He's on his way.
Yeah, I'm in a bad mood too.
King coming back, man. We're making him. The King's
Who
coming
would
back.
come back? I wouldn't come back to this shithole.
Listen, we're listing the requirements of the King right now. There's people all over the planet listing the requirements of the King, setting those energies in motion. That shit is gonna bring it here. When the King was here, we envied the usurper because fuck that guy. We don't have what he has, whatever. We want the usurper, so that guy loses. And then we got the usurper. Now we're like, oh shit, we don't like bad daddy. We want good daddy back. But for the time being, it's about to be seed popping season in my region. So that's what I'm excited about. Even some ditch dirt. If you find a plastic cup, fill it with some dirt, and you put some seeds in a wet paper towel, and then when they pop, you put them in the dirt, and you just make sure it has enough sunlight and some water. Even that is a win. I mean, you don't have to have scale. You don't have to have seed trays. You don't have to have acres and tractors and all this stuff. Planting one seed is all that matters. It's the first step into moving the mountain. Watching it grow. Stacking little W's.
Popping bottles in the club. Stacking dubs.
That's the stacking dubs part now, but popping bottles in the club is a write-off.
Fuck yeah, it's what do they call it?
It's a business meeting. Well, that's what I called it in 2022. I don't think I have any VIP booths for 2023. I've been trying to sort all my paperwork. Jesus, it's piles of tax paperwork when you have a W-2 and an LLC and some other things. Like, for most, it's not worth it. If you don't like reading books, if you don't like looking at the squiggly colors on the page, man, it's just frustrating. And big old
what if I'm visually what if I have a visual disability and I can't read those documents? What does that mean?
You gotta get a lawyer or just nah. I don't recommend it anyway. If you could build a real life as opposed to a paper life, that's a lot better. But I mean, if you have one could say the mental disabilities that give you an edge on the paperwork, I guess that's the way I was taught, and I'm kind of just stuck in it, so I could do it. But yeah, it's it's a whole different world. The paper world.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it's a trap. Once you decide to engage in the paper trail, then they got you. I mean, really. Then you have to go at a certain level just to make it worth your fucking effort at that point. Just like you said, just to pay the tax man.
But
they don't come cheap.
Again, if it seems that way that they have you, then yeah, I wouldn't recommend the paper. But if you can see the mechanism that it is, paperwork is you securing what's yours. Then I would, you know, consider it beneficial for somebody to try and explore that world. But if you view it as every piece of paper is taking away from you, I would just recommend try to build an organic life in real life and limit those attachment points. Because with paperwork, every piece of paper you file is basically exercising and trying to support and secure your rights or privileges. And then you can have supporting documentation on top of that one piece of paper. So like you said, you'll be buried in it. You open a can of worms just to open a can of worms. And depending on if you're playing dirty, you might have this entire big long paper trail that's just to be a wild goose chase.
Yeah,
So
like
children are taught that as if it's right. And then they have this midlife crisis when they realize that they've, you know, been helping in genocide.
yeah. So for me, in order for me to sell some old T-shirts on eBay, I then have to go pay a fucking tax person, you know, hundreds of dollars a year just to fucking file fucking paperwork to sell some used T-shirts, right?
That's the trap of these platforms, that they made it seem like they were free trade platforms.
Well, it was
Well,
free
guys,
trade for fucking
I'm
20
about to
years.
jump off of here in a minute. I got to figure a few things out here.
Word. Yeah, I'm eating lunch right now. Good old beans and rice, man.
Better than none.
Yeah.
Price of rice went down in my area.
Well, I know it's
I had
debatable.
food until my selfish roommate ate it. He's lucky he's sick and dying because I'll punch him in his fucking mouth for doing that shit. But what can you do? Anyway,
But yeah, silver and gold, man. Silver and gold, or you know, just barter, like pure basic barter.
Fuck that,
Silver
dude.
and gold works.
Get some titties, bro. Stripping pays good, bro. Get some titties and learn to dance. That's what I say. Fuck silver and gold.
It would cost me so much to look good enough to be able to play that game. I don't have the upfront money.
I don't know, bro.
Really like
Fucking Jim Norton just married him a T word, a TG.
I don't know. You know how much money it would take for me to turn into a beautiful, like, feminine human? Like, yeah, I might as well just start up a trust fund myself, or you know. But if you're born with that type of value, that's a great character to play. It's a great game to play because they're racking up a lot of money right now.
I mean, shit. Just if you call yourself a TG, you're almost guaranteed to get a job these days. At least more than I could say for myself as a cis white male, quote unquote.
Well, now you're going low, shooting for subsidies rather than going high. You know, going for millions of dollars on OnlyFans or, you know, private.
Hey, it's all relative. When you got zero, $10 a week is fucking pretty you know, better than zero.
shit. I made $1.75 a day in prison.
There you go.
$28 every 2 weeks, something like that.
I've made zero money as a hot chick.
And people get by on that.
Well, you know, God bless you with a booty hole, bro. You could just be gay, bro.
People say prison didn't teach them nothing because they didn't pay attention to budgeting. They could have learned budgeting. But most
And
people are
again,
too good to work in prison. They're too good.
if you go low and sell flesh, you know, again, that's a guaranteed way to scrape the bottom. But also, you can sell intellectual property. If you're old enough, you're going to know something, and somebody will even pay for the information that the sky is blue. So that's why in the New World Order, I recommend, you know, we don't have to sell flesh anymore. That's kind of like they call gold, a barbaric relic.
I don't even give a fuck. If they're gonna do it, just hurry up and do it. You know, drop a bomb, fucking do something.
Yeah, because it's gonna fail, bro. They're fucking retarded. The system idea that they have, it doesn't fucking work in real life because they don't live in real life. They live in these fucking pampered fucking realities where, you know, yeah, everything can be digital. Not everybody has a goddamn phone, bro. There's problem number one. And my state in particular is about to find this out next year because they're pushing this real ID shit, and people are not going to even be able to do basic government services without some kind of fucking app and shit. When they've never addressed the fact that I'm not required to have a goddamn phone. I pay for my own phone as long as I have money, and it's just for internet access. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't even have this motherfucker. What are they gonna do? Make me fucking buy and own a phone? So, you know, they're just they're asking for their own demise. So I'm like you, bro. Fucking quit fucking around and let's get this fucking show on the road so it can fucking crash sooner. Because that's all that's gonna happen with that shit.
So for them, it's not a destination. It's a direction to aim in, and the population is traveling in that direction. Once they get close enough, they're going to give another directional point, like a navigating beacon. Hey, over here now. Ooh, hey, over. Oh, you almost got it. You almost got utopia. Try a little bit harder. Try it this way. Come this way. Now come this way. Utopia's over here.
How can evil people create a utopia? There'll never be a utopia.
It's a concept. The word utopia isn't really like you know, a real thing. It's more of
it's a big prison.
It's like Jesus coming back.
Exactly. So there's these periods of time that people keep in their mind. It's just attachment points. And then we drift from that with hopes we're going towards a better attachment point. So it's like a snapshot. Utopia would be like a snapshot of your best memory, of the things that, you know, everything, all the gems that make up yourself. Those are the utopias. And then from point A to point B was just, you were in motion. You weren't in utopia. Some people even have these things they call like bad memories. You know what I mean? So you go from utopia to bad memory back to utopia. But in between those, you're just in motion in life.
What's up, Dean? You came right when I'm about to end everything.
Dean, how's it going? Ooh, Toyotas outside of the United States are awesome too. If you could get some diesel Toyotas, whew, those things are sweet.
Yeah, isn't it funny how in the 80s, Honda and Toyota were making fucking amazing vehicles that run forever on very little gas and get pretty good performance. And we somehow went backwards from that shit. Isn't it fucking amazing?
Yeah, they went ISO 9000 and found the exact places where they could go cheap. Planned obsolescence.
Yeah, even though in the 80s and 90s you could buy a car that was like a brand new vehicle for less than 10 grand. Now you can't even get a transmission fucking fixed or some sensors on your ABS system for less than 3 grand. You know what I mean? 3 grand at a fucking repair shop.
Yeah, me and a couple of my buddies are trying to go private car club shop, and all the vehicles would be private property. You know, we're looking into the documentation of being able to remove and replace VIN numbers, so then they're actual private vehicles as opposed to you know, things that fall under public and the current economic situation. Because I don't want a lot of plastic or planned obsolescence built into my vehicles anymore. And I know a few people who are also Chevy fans and would be able to rally around a common body style, vehicle style, and then start like machining longer lasting parts. But again, these are all, they belong to GM. So unwinding that knot and being able to put that same type of mechanism into private play is difficult, but that's one of the things that I'm attacking and trying to evolve with as well. Is dude, a lot of these Chevys could last forever, man. These old school Chevys could last forever. It just takes people upholding them.
All right, guys, I'm gonna jump off of here.
All right, bro.
Right,
Have a good day, man. Peace out, chat.
Big love, man.
Peace in the groove, and B, thanks for coming up, man. Peace to everyone in the chat. I'm out of here.